because, chat, I do mean business. See business. The best kind of business. Wow, that one really petered out there. Anyway, I'll swatcha. Gloss over. Whip sound effect. Should I get a... Nah, I probably don't. It would only be even more annoying if I actually soundboarded out my transitions and stuff. Hey! Somebody's checking out the VOD of X3. Like, you got bullied a little, but that's how Mega Man goes.
Hey, it was, like, surprisingly just short, but difficult, honestly, is the way to put it.
Yeah, I think we coordinated there between the stories of various peoples in chat. Basically, it's the classic merry-go-round of game design back in the 90s. People thought Mega Man X1 was too easy, so X2 and X3 are hard. And then people were like, man, this game's too hard.
I noticed that there is, like, no proper balance, like, no middle point in the game, because basically, if you have the weakness weapon, the thing just kind of dies.
I mean, yeah, that's usually how it goes. They do usually... I don't know if you were... if you're a big, classic Mega Man guy. I know you played Star Force and some of the Battle Networks and stuff, but... there's a boss rush at the end, traditionally, in the Classic and the X series, so... Sometimes they remix those guys to have better arenas or to use more of their movesets from the start. But yes, usually it's... You find whichever one of them is the most chump to start the game, and then you just daisy chain.
I remember playing the Zero Collection. It's kind of a blur of, like, I was good or bad at it, because I don't remember.
Yeah, those games are... The Zero games are different. They're usually traditionally a bit harder, and they're on limited hardware, too, because they're on GBA. But
I remember playing the DS
they're
version
more
it was, like, upscale and stuff.
mission-based, usually?
It was levels. You just you selected levels. But
yeah, you just select where you
sometimes
want to
they just chain together.
Yeah. And
I need to go play them again sometime and just to see it again.
ZX is kind of Metroidvania, almost, because they unlock a certain amount of areas with, like, color-coded keys, but there are also other areas you can't access until you either progress the story or you acquire certain modes and transformations.
It had okay voice acting, and it actually had, depending on your protagonist's gender, it actually had slightly different bosses and, like, actual levels you did.
Yeah, no, they actually changed that up. It's really, really funny. For the original ZX, they just kept all the Japanese VO, and then apparently it did good enough that they were like, oh, shoot, for Advent, I guess we'll get an actual dub.
I think it's like, I played ZX, and then I think I played Advent, and then I think I played Advent first as a kid, because it was like, that was what was out for like 2 years, because I rented a bunch of games when I was like in middle school.
It's not like it's labeled ZX2. It is a sequel, but it's not necessary to play the original game.
I played ZX originally. I think I played ZX later. I think I was also too young to actually be conscious enough to actually play a game well.
Yeah. Just wonder what time it is. We've only spent like 3 minutes. It's okay. We're getting chat in. There's a lot of you now. And you guys can tab back in. So check out the X3 and some of the other Mega Man X's, because I got a playlist that Lucky's been playing. And we'll keep on there. But anyway, so in case you can't tell from our slight rebranding here and the bed image, actually, honestly, you probably can't tell from the bed image. We're talking about Mermail today. We're going through our solo modes. Dallas is probably dead. Loth might be alive.
He'll be late by an hour.
He currently has to, swim in the gym. Yeah, I'm not guaranteeing that he's gonna feel like he's gonna be able to be on the camera after a gym, but hypothetically, yes, he'll be like an hour late. So we're going to start with this. We'll be here for a little bit because mermails are a pretty decently sized archetype, and I also think that it would not be appropriate to discuss mermails without talking about the archetype that also really helped catapult them to success, which is the Atlanteans. Most of the good Atlanteans either came out in these sets before Mermail or as the result of a structure deck that came out right around the same time that Mermails hit. So they've always been, while there are pure Mermail decks and there are many, many other variants, as usual, Mermail, very popular deck with people. It is a good deck, and it has been successful over the years. Mermails has been making top cuts since it came out in the late 2012 to early 2013 for their first couple waves of support. So pure Mermails. So much so, by the way, that this is like the only deck that Gen X cards have ever been competitive in, because I'm noticing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks, specifically, people are specifically calling out their lists as with or without Undyne. So the Gen X Undyne engine was also in this. Some of these were also Deep Sea Diva engines. You would do Diva Synchro. But Atlantean Mermails was a popular variant after the structure deck came out. And then, basically, Mermails have been a deck since they came out in 2012, and just, they have existed as a possibility in various combinations all through 2013. Looks like all the way into 2014. Let me see when if there's a break point. But I think Mermails may have been competitive viable, if not, a top deck, up until Duelist Alliance format. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. It's just Mermail. Okay, so yeah, exactly until October 2014. That is the last time Mermail's top, until Neptibus comes out in 2016. Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince, is technically an Atlantean card, but he works really, really well with Mermail Atlantean builds, and so has been out there. Let's see. What was this list from 2014? X1 Title, 1 Molan Glacia, 2 Controller, 2 Undyne, and then, yeah, a shitload of the... Wow, running 1 Allure. What's even the Allure hit? Controller? Yeah, I guess. He's a Dark. But yeah, no, this is a very solid list, and I'm guessing... were you running 1 Abyss Gund because she was limited, or because... No, Gunday is good. It must have been she was limited. And obviously, Title. They did a lot on the back of Title as a incredibly bullshit card that can never come back. Blaster is okay. I think Master Duel has proven Blaster is all right, TCG. I would not be surprised if next list Blaster comes back.
The dragons, the dragon rulers are only good as their attribute, and it turns out fire just isn't good enough in a lot of places.
I mean, fire is pretty good. It's just that I don't think Title fits into the fire decks that are good. Like,
yeah, because I think it's like
Infernoble is pretty.
Which doesn't need a dragon in it deck.
Yeah, I mean, that would give you access to Sync 8s, but you already, I think, can Synchro Summon whatever the fuck you want in Infernoble.
And honestly, what you want to do is you want to turbo out Charles now so you can make Charlemagne and then get Charles back and so on and so on. But...
Yeah, they said they're announcing some support in the next set, which is going to be... that next set is going to be fucking bonkers. Which also, that could be another fire deck, actually, that might... Evils might like Blaster back. And actually, you might see him go to 1 in the TCG when that set is about to come out, because Evils are a mix of reptiles, dinosaurs, and dragons, so they probably wouldn't mind 1 Blaster, but he doesn't really do enough, I think, for those decks to, like, actually matter. Because of their effects, Redox and Title can never come back. Those guys are way too fucking dumbus. But Mermails have, like I said, been the crux of a lot of decks. They came back all through 2016 and were perfectly valid, I'm going to assume, until a ban list hit. This is when Frog variants of Mermails were good. I'm going to guess that probably was Toad got bopped. And Mermails have been good to this day. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Decks is still slightly outdated, but there was a second place from a Mermail deck in 2020 during the online series. So, like, Mermails are probably, or rather, Water.deck is probably still good. Water goes through a couple of phases. People probably prefer to play Shark now, which is in a very similar axis. But Mermail is a very long-running, very positively held archetype, which is very interesting because they actually, like... haven't gotten legacy support since the late Link era, because they don't need it. Arguably, like, there's some Deep Sea cards, there was some Diva package stuff that came out later that would help them, but Water is such an interesting tri-axis deck. We've talked a lot before on, like, Prog Series and stuff about Water.deck, right? And you've seen the decks. Mermail has been piloted in our progression series when we were running it and whenever we had time to do that, to a shitload of success. Robin famously ran that deck into the ground. I also really liked Mermails and did several versions of the build. I think Dallas had a water deck build at some point. Like, water.deck is a very interesting strategy, and it goes in a lot of ways because they have a lot of synergy, because water monster types, fish, aqua, sea serpent, basically don't matter. There's a couple of decks that are very specifically like aquas only. Obviously, Frog is a very infamous for that, for being aqua-centric. But in general, just anything that's water type that is a fish, a sea serpent, or an aqua works for a lot of decks. And so there's a lot of bullshit you can do. Water has always been, like, I think the midpoint of attributes. Like, it's never been as super mega popular as Light, Dark, and Earth, but it's also not as crazy hit or miss as wind or fire decks are. There have been good wind decks and there have been good fire decks, but on the whole, there's just not, like, the same crazy level of support. If anything, I feel like Konami is scared of fire because they printed Rekindling. Though you have to play into Rekindling, but it's really shaped like a lot of fire stuff. But yeah, water decks are good, and Mermail is a very specific one. They are mostly a Xyz water deck, though obviously, like I said, with the Undyne package, and Gen X controller, and the Deep Sea Diva package, you can access synchro plays. One of their best playmakers is a Link monster that was added, which is very good. So they've got a couple of different options that you can work in there. But primarily what you're looking at is there's going to be level 3s, there's going to be level 4s, and I believe the general theme is level 3s are ladies, level 4s are dudes, and then there's level 7s, which are giant fucking sea monsters, to let you know how cool this archetype is. Oh yeah, and by the way, all of the names for these creatures are either taken from extinct sea animals or a reference to Wagner and the Nibelungenlied. Yeah, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm amazed we've never actually just done a pure Nibelungenlied archetype.
I don't know. It might be a little. That might be a little too on the nose, but you never know. They took
Noble
Noble Knights as the Arthurian and then Infernoble as the Matter of France. So
because it's like it weirdly could do it could do a weird thing where like it overlaps a bunch of other archetypes just.
There are some. I mean, Valkyries are a standalone, which do reference that as well, but they took a while to get there. So there's some wiggle room.
I don't think they had a Brynhilder.
I'm pretty sure there is a Brynhild card, but I don't remember if she's Valkyrie. There are most of the Valkyrie names are in here, but
you also could just do Brynhilder as a Fallen Valkyrie.
The original name they got here for a lot of these is a direct reference to the Rhine Maidens from. Blah, blah, blah,
oh right, that's
Wagner.
the Maidens of the Rhine, like
yeah, the Maidens of the Rhine, the Water Ladies. But
my
they
most
go
knowledge
there.
of the Nibelungenlied comes from that.
Comes from Mandy's Ring video. Of course it does.
No, I was gonna say it comes from that cursed game that was sadly fucked.
Yeah, no, that's a great video. Go watch that.
Or it's like I didn't know anything about the doors, but it's like it also turns out Fate weirdly fucks up the story, but also makes it better because it makes it less based off deceit. Weirdly enough,
there's a lot of weird shit in the Nibelungen
Fate just makes Brynhilder and Sigurd both not able to actually have feelings or communication abilities.
I mean, I think they communicate very well.
Well, no, it's more if during when they were alive. Supposedly, they were like robots in flesh.
Well, they're very pragmatic. There's a lot of interesting concepts about Hero. Also, I mean, Brynhilder was,
Still don't like how they I don't like how they did that to tie stuff together, but Valkyries.
I mean, it's not. That's not really Nasu's fault. That's the fault of the fact that there are fucking weirdos out there. Attila the Hun is canonical to the Volsunga saga for some fucking reason.
Yeah, but I don't know where they had to make Attila the Hun. Never mind.
Well, that's because they had different ideas. Myth boy. Anyway, we're going to talk about Mermails. So there's quite a few of these, but like I said, their support kind of tapers off after a while. But they're very popular. They've gone through a lot of phases, and they've mostly stuck to their guns. Which is not meant to be a pun based on the first target of this, but it will end up that way. By the way, as you can see from the video description, Yugipedia is still down. They could still use some of your juice. So, please consider going to their recovery tool if you haven't already and helping them out, because their website is infinitely better for this show than the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom Wiki, because they actually, like, archive all the artworks and update it. Which means that you guys can't see the uncensored version of Mermail Abyssgund. It's okay. You can probably tell. Hey, you know the part? You want to see the part they censored? It's this bit. It's her fucking hip windows that don't even go all the way down to her hips. It's a real dumb one.
Also, to further the point, for people watching this on a computer, image you're looking at 10th the scale, and a person looking at this on a phone, it's about the same size as that art.
Yeah.
So for understanding, like, how much you would probably never notice.
Yeah, how would you? I didn't even realize it was censored until I saw the fact that the wiki has a side by side, and yeah, the original card art in the OCG just. That bit that looks like her armor becomes skin tight for some reason is because they just painted her skin silver. And I'll admit it goes pretty deep in, but she's got a weird armor plate over her belly button, so, like, I don't know. Were they worried about implying that she's topless under the armor? That it chafes? I don't know, because it has a wraparound like a bra. So the bit, like, above the weird spike here is there in the original, so I don't know. But this card was, printed on Japanese-sized playing cards, which, as you know, are smaller than normal. They literally have a smaller size so they can be put in, like, vending machines and shit. Not that I think they sell Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards in vending machines anymore, but that's where the size comes from.
It's also why they have better tech-size stuff, because they have less space.
Yeah, so they have done those moments, but you wouldn't even fucking know on, like, a regular-ass card, because this is a high-res redraw. But this at least gives you a look at what mermails are about. They are mermaid-type people, so they have top half people and bottom half fish. She's got, like, anime monster girl fish ears.
She's like a clownfish mermaid.
Yeah, and actually let me go back to the... Not that I trust 100% the Yugi Wiki here, but... she's based on, it's got to be Velgund, because even though it starts with a W, who's one of the Rhine Maidens, and yeah, it says she's meant to be a clownfish, so yeah. Clownfish coloring, so, the bright oranges, it pops really well.
Silver and black armor layers.
And the kind of silver or even whitish metal with the black outline matches the clownfish colors, that's good. Blue and orange are also... contrasting colors. So they go together pretty well. So yeah, this is a good decision by the art team to kind of comprise everything. It's also very funny now that I think about it, because they censored her hip windows, but not the fact that she has bare shoulders and armpits. Which, if this card was printed today, Konami would be weird about.
I feel like she'd have a different pose.
I don't think I don't think the OCG
they have artists anymore in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't think the OCG cares about the posing. So they just do it. But yeah, it's good. This kind of gives us all the levels. It's just a pretty good art for late 2012, early 2013 era. It's digital. It's drawn. It looks good. Clearly, the artist looked at some references. Obviously, clownfish are not quite this noodly, but it is, a mermaid. With mail, as in, armor, metal protection. So, isn't that good? And as for what they do, this will probably... I'm pretty sure Gunday should give you guys a good grasp of what this archetype is like, mechanics-wise. Let me make the music slightly softer. The climax theme is very loud. So, Gunday is a level 3 water, obviously. She is an aqua. No idea why she's not a fish or a sea serpent, but again, it doesn't really matter. So, 1400 attack, 800 defense. If this card is discarded to the graveyard, target a mermail in your graveyard except Gund, special summon it. You can only use this effective Gund once per turn. And there you go. That's everything you need to know. Mermails swarm the board, and they discard. That's their thing. Technically, Gunday doesn't. She just has to be discarded. Now she can't be sent if it's sent, but any discard will trigger her. And if you have a Mermail in there, it works. I'm pretty sure I was jamming like card destruction in Mermails at certain builds. Like that's all it is.
I don't remember there being. I don't think there's any spell traps we need to show art-wise, so we probably do like effects we probably should bring up at some point later.
No, and I'll mention the scale, the Abyss scales, because that kind of sets the tone, and I think that's the theme. But yeah, they have a lot of interesting access to stuff, but that is that one. So we're gonna move down the line. Let me actually go to images. Okay. All right. So this is our next one. You notice this one is slightly smaller because, again, I'm just pulling these off the internet. This is Abyss Hilde. The name is drawn from Flosshilde, who is a Rhineman. And apparently she is supposed to be an eel? Or be eel-themed? I think I get that from the hat.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Also just from her base, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to guess this one was probably censored as well because her navel area is bright pink but has muscle tone, so...
Yeah, they put like a weird, like...
As is pretty typical, whenever somebody
band around her.
shows something a little too skin-like in Yu-Gi-Oh!, they're just like, cover it with body paint. That's not
honestly,
more erotic.
If they weren't like Nordic, I guess would Nordic be a good like
Germanic
descriptor of like Germanic? If it was like there were like a Germanic period like tribes, like fish tribes, I could see that as being rubber, but like nah.
Thank you, Architect. Abs are not allowed. Yeah, that's how they feel. But this is very, like with Gunde, she's just kind of a fish lady. With Hilde here, I think that she actually encapsulates that, you know, Wagnerian aspect. She's got like the weird horned helmet. She's got a super long braid. You know, it looks a little more Germanic, a little more Nordic in themes. She's got kind of a you know, reddish pink salmon color kind of thing going on. I don't know if that's particularly a color eels are known for, but it works because she is a redhead. Overall, pretty simple. Shout out to this fucking background work, though. Fucking baller. Very high detail. But so, Abyss Hilde is another level 3 Aqua. She has 1300 attack, 400 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard, special summon a Mermail from your hand, except Abyss Hilde, you can only use each effect of Hilde once per turn. So Hilde says sent. Yeah, this proc's really great. I'm pretty sure while there were a shitload of them in the front half, the three Rhine Maiden ladies were the really important combo makers, and you can see all of the extension here, chat. You know, Gunde summons from your graveyard when she's discarded. Hilde whenever she's sent to the graveyard, period, which includes detaching later, but also when you are used as link material and lots of other fun things. You get to summon from your hands, and then our next one is another very important lady. It's Abyss Linde, named after Voglinde. Again, I am assuming. I see a W and I know it's Germanic. I'm assuming it's a V.
Probably.
If you have definitely been seeing some Mermail cards, you probably know this one. Because she is kind of a big deal. I think this card is like a super or an ultra in Master Duel, and is a high rarity in real life. I think she was an ultra at first printing. Okay, yes, they have covered her navel as well. I thought so. But yeah, did nothing about that armpit. The wiki says, by the way, koi fish, which seems to match. Bright red. I like the extra additions of the pendants that trail. That's kind of neat. You know, the kind of red and gold koi fish coloring, and then kind of a darker blue hairstyle to match kind of the whitish, silverish of the fish part. It's pretty solid.
Honestly, this is like the first one that like maybe makes me look like a loser, but like the first one I look at, I'm like, oh, that's actually very beautiful. She looks very pretty.
No,
Like,
I don't think that's necessarily
like elegance to her.
wrong. Yeah, no. Definitely with like the posing, they're trying to go for a certain kind of like elegance for sure. Also matching, you know, like the big floofiness of a koi fish tail with like the fronds. But also like just the way that like I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, I would assume the Rhine-maid Linde is supposed to be the like elder sister or whatever, because you know Gunde and Hilde are smaller, and you know I feel like Linde has like she is clearly the biggest one. She is physically the oldest and also like the largest. Because Hilde has actually kind of, for being an eel, Hilde has like a little tiny baby mermail tail. But yes, Abyssland, very important. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon a mermail from your deck. Except Abyssland can only use this effect once per turn. So yeah, there you go. There's the axis. Also, she's 1,500 attack, 1,200 defense. So she's one of the better stat lines. So basically, those three ladies are the pretty core axis to this. They just give you free specials. They are once per turn, and they can't special themselves, but they all special under different conditions. Gunde when she is discarded, Linde when she's sent to the graveyard, or Hilde when she's sent to the graveyard, Linde when she's destroyed and sent to the graveyard. And they do come up with tricks to actually destroy your own monsters. But yeah, it's just a very solid basis for those three to get you extra lines on the board. And that kind of, you know, sets your tone here. You're trying to get monsters on tap to get in there. Okay. And then this is the next card art. This will be interesting to see blown up. Because Linde is popular. She's got some fan art. I bet this character doesn't have any fan art. Yeah, they go down like 4, and it's a fucking postage stamp, too. You can tell that this large lad is not popular. This is Abyss Lung. I will resize it slightly. Let's do 1.5x. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is... I think I've seen him played once or twice.
Yes. You probably saw him played in our Prague series at the start because...
He's a name.
Yeah, it was just another name we got, and it was I believe it was a common. Yeah, it was a common in Abyss Rising. Oh, this motherfucker's only been printed once. Yeah, that lets you know. A lot of the good mermails have been reprinted several times because they're good. Lung is not very popular. And I can see why.
All I know is most of the time it's if you're a mermaid, you're a big megalodon man, or you're a femboy prince.
No, there's some dude. The 4 stars, which this one is, are all.
Wait, there's also like
dudes.
some also like actually like cool buff dudes.
I don't think Lung counts because he's got a little bit of a squooshed face.
He's more like a burly dude.
He is burly, and he has a little bit of a flat face thing going on, and he's got the 2. I mean, bonus points for being the guy with the 2 punchy shields. Love when they bust those out. Very funny, very anime. But Lung does not look super great. This is a very like. This came out in 2012. This is a very early aughts how to draw anime type face here. His armor design is pretty interesting, and his name is probably meant to come from Lungfish, so I don't think he's even supposed to necessarily be any specific Nibelungenlied characters. She's just, you know, named after a lungfish.
It's just a name to fill up the space.
But as you might expect, chat, from this build, he is a defensive boy. So, Abyss Lung is a water fish. Yes, this is a fish. Those other 3 ladies, aquas. This guy, fish. Level 4, 1,200 attack, 1,800 defense. Your opponent cannot target face-up water monsters for attacks except this one. All water monsters you control gain 300 attack. So he is technically 1,500, 18 when you play him.
I think I know why he's one. The mermaids are aqua and this guy's a fish.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's because the mermaids are supposed to have magic, and he's just a fish man that attacks.
I don't really think that matters because Aqua is just Aqua. It's just water thing. I think technically, Aqua, what Aqua translates to in the OCG is just water. It's just written a different way than the attribute water. And I don't think it really, like, matters either way for, like, what they're going on. I think it's just they decided to divide the levels that way. Because I think all the big boys might be sea serpents, but we'll see. Some of them might be fish. And again, for water decks, it doesn't usually matter. But yes, you can see why Lung is no longer popular. I think he did see some play in early versions of the deck just as an extra name. But this is a card that is meant to turtle for your opponent and attack fix, which you don't really need because you have way better tools. First of all of their equip spells, really good. I think all of them are plus 800. And also, in general, you have access to some very large lads with special summon conditions, so Lung is not really necessary. If you're playing the 4-access version, it's probably better, but I think they did print better 4s, even in this initial run, so there's quite a few different Wambo Cambos you can run, which explains why Lung has never really come back. Also, honestly, for those stat lines, I think there's a better one. But let's go ahead and pull up that card art. This is very interesting. So if you like big boys, this is our next one. This is really big. Though I like the detail on this redraw. Let me make that 80%. Yeah, that works.
This is like Lund's bigger brother.
This is Abyssmander, as in salamander. You can tell because he has legs. He has a big, long salamander tail, but also has salamander feet.
I don't think that works.
No, I do not think this configuration of his limbs works, but they've got
the legs need to be lower on his body.
Probably, but they're just sticking out the sides of his hip. I do kind of like his sass. He has big Bada energy. He's just like, yes.
It's like, you came to bother us? You couldn't have chose a better day?
Yeah, so I think that, especially when I talk about their stat lines, I feel like in the Mermail people, right, they clearly have a palace or a city or whatever. I'm pretty sure...
this is like their guards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lung and Mander
like
are just those two bozos.
Or this is like Lund's like the guard, and he's like the guard captain.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like the salamander details, and honestly, the natural brown shading with the gold accent, it works. It's all right.
It's a good armor. And
I like the hat. His salamander hat. It's just making him a salamander is weird.
It doesn't need the open rivets.
Also, I'm just going to say, again, the fact that they decided to do the typing, very strange. This is Abyssmander, as in a salamander, which would almost assuredly be a...
serpent?
Probably not a sea serpent. You know, though you could certainly go sea dragon, and I think you might. But, like, that could be easily aqua or sea serpent. Fish! Pretty sure that's not how salamanders work, even in Yu-Gi-Oh! World. But anyway, we're here. We're here with the big boy. So, preview is lagging for some reason. Mander's pretty basic. You haven't seen him a lot either. I think it's slightly... more likely to play just because he has better stats. He is a level 4 water fish with 100 attack and 2k defense, so he has the full big one there. And then he's got a very interesting graveyard effect. You can banish it from your graveyard to activate one of the following effects. You can increase the level of all Mermail monsters you control by 1, or increase the level of all Mermail monsters you control by 2. So basically, this lets you turn your 3-axis into 4-axis and your 4-axis into 5s. It also lets you do the double up, so you can go from 3 to 5 or from 4 to 6. It does give you a lot more access to your Xyz package. I just think that with the nature of this guy, it's not really necessary because your only Xyz monsters in Archetype are a 7 and a 3. They haven't actually come out with a rank 4 that's specifically a Mermail. So, Konami, food for thought. Like, there were some... there was, Gishki Marrowgeist, for instance, was an early Xyz that was a water type 4, but she wouldn't really be running these types of decks. Abyss Dweller came out at some point, and that's a water aqua that is a good option to run, but might see it more action in your side deck kind of a thing. and you can already run 4s. Obviously, you know, Silent Honor Arc and all of the various Sharky-type cards are 3s and 4s anyway. So I think the primary use of Abyss Mander is, oops, I only have 3s and I really want to make a 4, like I want to make Silent Honor Arc or something, and I can't. And honestly, with the way the deck evolves, you summon your 4s instead of your 3s, and you just don't lose that way. So Mander kind of got outmoded. Like I said, I think I also played this one early just because I needed names, and again, 2K defense, not awful. You know, that tanks some stuff, but definitely better builds to do. So that means it's time for our first large boy. I was right. This guy at least is a sea serpent, even though he definitely should be a fish, technically.
I think it's just because he's one of those people that you have to like tribute for. I guess you can do special out of hand for being big.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just decided to do like a different axis. Like each one is a different type. But it ultimately... No, I don't want to fucking save this image. Copy. Give me the image. And I gotta resize this guy because for some reason there was a giant card art of Abyss Mander, but Abyss Megalo is a postage stamp. Anyway, here's Abyss Megalo.
Weird, because he's...
Megalo, obviously, by the way, Megalodon, the extinct
I don't feel like I
shark
need to see
species.
this blown up, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it really adds
Like,
anything.
it's cool looking, but I don't think it adds more.
No. I didn't realize his armor was quite so yellow, and that could obviously be this redraw, because this guy was a foil originally. But the red and yellow works. I like the design on his giant shark tooth sword thing. That's pretty cool.
Like he's like a Zelda mini boss. Weirdly enough, it makes you think
He
of
does
that.
kind of have Zora colors, so yeah, I could see this being a thing.
Like a Zora brute or something that you have to like.
And he definitely has like
attacks that like
weird
hook the sword and
extra
stuff.
fish bits. Like he's obviously got like a shark tail thing, but he looks like he's got like extra fins and like flaps coming out of his back.
He's got like a
double
mane
fins.
of like that's an actual like fish body.
Yeah, and he's got like ear horn fins things going on, which I don't hate. It's just there's a lot of extra detail.
This feels like a design I need to see like in a 3D model to like appreciate or hate.
Yeah. I unfortunately this was 2012 when this guy came out, so I'm sure if there was a 3D model of him, it's probably jank as fuck.
I know, but you know what I mean though. It's like
Yeah,
I can't really make a full opinion.
There's
otherwise.
a lot of stuff going on where the artist drew a lot of extra detail. I'd love to see if they have concept art, but I don't think the OCG was on Twitter in the same way in 2012 and like actually jotting these things down. But yeah, Megalo, pretty solid boy, and yes, is actually quite important. Hence why he's been reprinted a lot. His original printing was Secret Rare, but they reprinted him as a rare in Battle Pack 2, and also he was reprinted in Shadows in Valhalla. Water. So, Abyss Megalo is our first level 7 boy. He is a level 7 Sea Serpent. He has 2400 attack, 1900 defense, so stats are a little squishy. Konami wasn't sure if how they were going to handle this. But its effect is very simple. Discard 2 other water monsters to your graveyard. This is, by the way, why I, in our Prog series, was always continually still angry at Macro. It just stops you from playing so many decks. Special summon this card from your hand. When special summon this way, add an Abyss spell trap from your deck to your hand. You contribute 1 other attack position water monster. This card can make a second attack. Keep in mind, by the way, those Abyss spell traps with the hyphen. That includes, obviously, normal archetypal stuff, but also the Abyss scales, the equip spells, which, like I said, those are all plus 800. So that means you could have not a free special summon, but a special summon that pluses you, because several of your monsters interact with being sent or discarded. And he gets to be 800, and he can attack twice. Abyss Megalo can absolutely close out games on his own. He is also a 7. That's why, as I said before when I was talking about these decks in competitive, worked really well with the Tempest line. You know, that accesses your 7 Xyz, and also Tempest has a decent stat line. So yeah, he's just a big, fast fucker, and can absolutely ruin your opponent's day. And again, basically out of nowhere, because you just are like, yeah, Abyss Megalo. You can also summon him off Linde as well. So there's lots of ways to get this guy out there, and he's just a big guy. Alright. I'll pull up the art for the next one, but hold on a sec, chat, because I've got to go grab my water. I'm a little thirsty. I gotta get more under the sea. So hold on a sec.
Just don't get delirious.
Okay, I'm back. I have to switch up my seating posture very slightly. My legs are getting sweaty. I see Jim Phonewolf has chosen to hang out with the crows instead of us. Omega will remember this.
I think it's because he can't talk and also look at the stream at the same time.
Possible. But he does sometimes watch on mobile. So I'm still going to remember it. Hey, this guy I have to blow up a little. This is Abyss Spike. Fishnets on a guy, bold choice. But I think it works for him.
It reminds me of Anasui. Or not Sui.
Yeah, definblue.
But like, if he
honestly,
had, like,
yeah, this is kind of
but
not quite,
I
but
feel
this
like
could be JoJo adjacent.
The blonde blue-eyed guy reminds, he thinks of like the Lost Vikings for some reason. He's got that kind of hair.
It's true. He has very anime European hair. And
You think of like Soul Calibur Siegfried, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit.
Usually short hair.
Spikes.
Usually shorter hair.
Oh, it's Abyss Pike, not Abyss Spike. Well, I mean, it's pronounced very similar. But he's a guy. It seems based on a pike fish. That would make sense for him being very pointy. Pike, if you don't know them, pikes, the fish, are in fact very spikily. They're very, very lean, mean, arrow-like. He's definitely got that body type there. It does make me wonder, now that I'm looking at him blown up, how he does anything, because he's got a really weird, the back guard, basically. I wondered if maybe he shot spikes at people, but now that I see that, it doesn't really look like this armor does that. I think he just punches people. Anyway, Spike is a very important card, at least historically. I don't know if you play him a lot later, but chat, you will notice that so far, mermales don't really have great normals. I think that's part of the reason why Neptibus ended up adding a lot. But Pike is, when he's normaled or special, to discard a water monster to the graveyard, add a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. You go into this effect once per turn. So this is basically your Stratos effect. He does have to pitch 1 to search, but if you're playing your Mermail deck correctly, that's not a minus, That's just more extension. So, hell, actually, I believe the way this works, because it's pitch for cost, you could pitch, what's her face? Hildy, who when sent to graveyard summons from hand. So you pitch Hildy, add a level 3, next chain link is Hildy and graveyard summon that guy. So, yeah, it's just net positives. Great extension. He is a fish level 4 with 1600 attack and 800 defense, so a decent normal summon. And I'm pretty sure for a while this is a pretty big cornerstone of your normals. Because, I mean, you don't really have that much better other than maybe a sacrificial Linde. But yeah, him as a guy. This is all, by the way, still in their first wave, so you can see they had several level 4s and level 3s to pick from. Continuing our slightly prettier boys trend, this is... I don't think I gotta increase the size on this. This is Abyss Turge. As in sturgeon, which is also kind of a bony, spiky fish.
Turn the HDR off, because, like, damn, that's bright.
Yeah, let me actually... No, he is that... It's not quite the same, but his lighting is that washed out in the original card art, so yeah. I think the idea is he's supposed to be very shiny, because he's got, like, a kind of a bronzy or brassy spear, and he's got bright white and silver steel armor bits. But yeah, his color palette is actually this washed out. Probably could have turned down those Photoshop filters a little. I like his hat, though. It's very reasonable helmet. His armor design is also pretty good, though he has some extra spikes. He actually has a weapon. He's got a little harpoon thing. So he can actually, do something with his life. It's pretty solid. So, very reasonable, very good. But yes, the color washout is a little sad. Because this kind of, like, deep purple and white and silver works, but it feels like it's a little washed out. And like I said, I'm looking at a scan of the original card art, and it is actually kind of that washed out. But Abyss Sturge is another really great normal summon. He is a level 4 fish, 1700 attack, 1100 defense, so arguably your best stats for a normal right now. When this card is normal or special, discard a water monster to your graveyard, add a level 3 or lower monster in your graveyard. You only use this effect once per turn. So Sturge on normal summon cycles your graveyard. Both of these guys are pretty solid. Obviously, Sturge is a little more situational because you can't use him turn 1 quite the same way. Because I believe normally the way these kinds of effects work, you have to have the target in graveyard already, even if you want to discard a level 3 or lower water monster to summon it back. You still have to have a water monster, level 3 or lower water monster in your graveyard already as an initial target, because otherwise his on-summon effect can't proc. So you can special summon back the monster you pitch, but you already have to have a target. So it can be a little dicey, but still very solid. So you had, 1/7, 4 4s, and 3 3s. The 3s are all really, really good. And the 4s were also pretty decent. But they really were generic because their last guy is their first Xyz, who was their rank 7 when they only had 1 7 monster. They really wanted you to play multiple Megalo. Now that that's bad, 2 Megalo plus a couple of extenders does mean you can absolutely shit-kick your opponent.
Megalo is a terrifying thing to worry about when your board is not, when it will just kind of ignore most of your board.
When he can double attack, yeah, he can get in there. Okay, is this also a Sea Serpent? No, this wraps around to being an Aqua. Very interesting. But yeah, it's time for the big boy, the big chief. It's Abyss Gaios, the large lad himself.
Germanic King Triton.
Yeah.
He's also kind of a actual sea dragon.
Oh, okay. In case you guys didn't know, I talked about how they were related, but we should be very explicitly Atlanteans and Mermails are directly related. This guy is actually Poseidra the Atlantean dragon, but he gets a magic bracelet which turns him into a man.
Is that what a lot of them are? They're Atlanteans that have human forms now, or humanoid forms?
That might be it. I'd have to remember the solo mode. I think they were guarding magical artifacts. The card art from the trap card, which I used for the thumbnail, Abyss Squall, shows the three Rhine Maiden type girls already with the magic ring of power. Did you get it? Did you get it, chat? Also, by the way, I should say this. Mermail, I believe, is a direct translation from, Mameru. So that's how it was in the OCG. What we call Atlanteans in the TCG, in the OCG, their name is just of the Sea Emperor. So,
Dragoons of the Sea Emperor.
Yeah. Warrior of the Sea Emperor, etc. So that still works with using the phrase Atlantean because, that's supposed to be connected to Poseidon anyway. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, so Gaios, Gaios' name in English comes from one of the epithets for Poseidon, the Earthshaker one, which is Enosigaios. So, again, showing you that Poseidra connection. It's pretty fun. And also very funny because this obviously is very Greek, whereas their previous names are, usually Germanic or classic fish. But honestly, I like this guy. You can tell he's got the bottom half of Poseidra, so he's got the full dragon bottom, which is cool. He's got a big trident. There's the magic bracelet on his arm. And otherwise, he's just kind of, I'm the king of the sea. What are you going to do about it? So, Gaios is a big boy. He is a rank 7 Aqua Xyz. Again, don't know why he's not a sea serpent, but whatever. We're experimenting. He's a rank 7 with 2800 attack, 1600 defense, so pretty solid rank 7 stats. This guy would crash with Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. He does require 2 level 7 water monsters, so generic level 7 extenders don't work, but this is why Tidal is good in this deck. While this face-up card on the field has Xyz material, level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack. Again, do be warned, that does fuck you as well. That's a double-sided floodgate. Once per turn during either player's turn, detach an Xyz material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls that have a less attack in this card until the end of this turn. I know that it's not quite the same thing that MBT jokes about because this card came in the first wave of support, but hey, it's a floodgate. Abyss Gaios is a pretty powerful floodgate. You have to be careful, like I said. He does cut you off of your own 7 lines. So obviously, I think the original intent is you get 2 7s on the board that stick, and then you overlay for Gaios, and then you're just like, fuck you. Because Xyz monsters are obviously not affected by this at all, because they don't have levels. Link monsters are also not affected. This is why I think they got a Link support later. It's not an indefinite effect, like its only continuous effect is you can't attack, it has no protection, and you know, its negate effect until the end of this turn is detach 1, but it is a quick effect. It's pretty fair and balanced as far as floodgates go, but it's definitely like can be very annoying to certain deck archetypes. I think I ran against this with like BA and got schwacked. There's some other builds where all your monsters are just little guys and you can't do anything. But obviously over the years, as being able to turbo out larger and larger monsters goes, you can work around this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a pretty decent boss. I honestly think, and I believe this was the popular strategy, I'd have to double check the deck lists, but there are a lot of them. But you could make Gaios. I don't think he was your preferred way to win because Abyss Megalo works much better as an OTK machine. You just get a lot of advantage over pitching several cards, and then you just make him huge and attack twice.
Also, having 2/5 sometimes is just not easy.
2 7s, but yeah.
Oh, he was the 2/7, right?
Yeah, he's 2 7s that are water. So he requires the big boys. So given how often later editions of the Mermail deck could brick on the 7s because they get multiples, Gaios is not your preferred end-state monster. If you can make him, he will absolutely just clobber certain decks. But he doesn't usually win you the game. Though he can certainly be a useful stall tool to lock out your opponent until you can set up to win the game. But remember, his continuous effect is double-sided. You cannot attack with level 5 or highers either. Alright, Lot's making his way home. And that's decent time. We've only just now finished the first wave of support. So you can see why Mermails were popular right out the gate. They had a big boy like Megalo. They had all the 3s for like very quick extension and special summoning. Spike and Sturge also go in there. And like I said, Lung and Mander, while not ideal cards, are decent names that have a purpose to exist. And both have big fat butts that make them harder to deal with. Especially because, remember, this is the height of Xyz format. So summoning little guys to go into specific ranks is not uncommon.
Trying to think about how do I put this? I think there's like 6 or 8 other cards. I can't remember most of them.
There's
unless we're gonna cover like Atlanteans and
8-ish or 9-ish. We will talk about Atlanteans as well because there's actually very few Atlantean cards.
Okay.
I think there's 9 Mermails left though.
Yeah. Okay.
5 in the second block. Then they had 2 in like their third block back in the Xyz area, and then they had a little bit of legacy support. Plus, I do want to at least mention the Abyss scales because they're I think part of why this deck was very very valid. Because I've alluded to it a little, but the style of this is a swarm deck. But what you do with that swarming is very interesting. You can play Mermails as a control style deck or as just an aggro beater. Both strategies work. I think it is technically aggressive either way, but again, it's what you do with your resources. They are very good at resources, especially because water is very good at resources thanks to cards like Moray of Greed and Salvage. Hell, Big Wave, Small Wave. You know, there's a lot of ways for water to extend, and Mermails play right into that. Hell, on the wiki, and I agree with this point, one of the weaknesses of Mermail is overextension. You have to be careful because you can absolutely just vomit your entire hand onto the board and shit.
I appreciate they say that for certain decks. It's like, listen, one of those things you could do is legitimately just do too much.
Yeah, because you'll notice
it's a very thing, honestly.
While they do have floating effects, Mermails don't really do anything if you get board broken. Like, if your opponent just blasts you with, you know, back in the day, I think you could play one copy of Dark Hole, maybe one copy of TT while this was popular. But in general, like Dark Holes, Regekis, TTs, whatever just eats your whole board. You don't really come back from that. You know, some of them do float when sent to the graveyard, but they're all hopped. And, specifically, Linde has to be destroyed and sent to graveyard. By the way, you also absolutely die to shit like Macrocosmos and DeFi. That's probably why these guys aren't popular anymore, because there are some decks that run hardcore banish, and that will absolutely fuck you. They have to go to graveyard. So if you're playing a game of Yu-Gi-Oh right now and your opponent just, stand by, turn 1, draw, stand by, D-shifter. Well, rip me. So let us talk about their second wave of support with a tiny little baby. This is Abyssdine. Or possibly Abyssdine? Or Abyssdine. Let me actually see what this name is. Oh, okay. So, yeah, so she's not referencing a character. She's just referencing the fish-type creature known as sea angels, which are technically a type of sea slug.
Huh.
And they're usually translucent. So yeah, Abyssdine. And she's just, she's clearly the babiest one. I like the translucent effect they did, And it's a very solid, she's got the little bow. She still has kind of a shield chest plate like the others. They also, considering, sea slugs, gave her kind of like the anemone-style hair. I like that little detail. And again, the background work. Fucking beautiful shading and shit. Chef's kiss. Love this shit. I know some people are like there was some new Evil support was revealed. People are like, oh yeah, the weird Photoshop backgrounds are back. I appreciate that those have soul, but also, this is real good detail work. Both can be good. So Abyssdine, this was in our second wave of support in Cosmo Blazar. This was early 2013. Dine is another level 3. She's an Aqua. 1,000 attack, 200 defense. When this card is added from your deck or your graveyard to your hand by a card effect, so basically anytime you don't just hard draw her in draw phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. You must control a Mermail monster to activate and resolve this effect. When this card is special summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, so this would include yourself, target a level 3 or lower Mermail in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use one Abyssdine per turn and only once that turn. So yeah, Dine is just another great extender. You add her off of a Abyss Sturge or Abyss Pike. She summons herself. If you summon her off of a Linde or a Hildy effect, or off any of the other threes, actually, off Gunde, Hilde, or Linde, she procs and probably fetches those guys back because they're in your graveyard. And it's just great extension. The only thing is you have to control a Mermail to do this effect, so you have to... technically, she counts as in your control if she has been special summoned. So that part doesn't matter, but when added to your deck to your graveyard, you need some setup. But still, very workable, and just more extension. You can see why these guys ended up with a Link monster and why it works so well for them. They are just vomiting out support. But other than that, Abyssdine doesn't really do anything on her own, but she is a great extender to put in the deck. All right, next we've got another big boy. I think this one may actually have been seen. He's not as popular as Megalos and not as memey as Baleen, but I believe he did actually see some play. I gotta blow him up. Gotta make him a little bigger. But this is Abyss Lead. He's a very tiny face. And this is based off of Lead Zichthius. I was about to say. So, you can thank the British for this. This creature's name literally just means Leeds fish, because it was found in Leeds, in England. Oh, actually, no. It was named after a British collector, Alfred Nicholson Leeds. So, same thing. Anyway, so it's a prehistoric fish. But he's a big boy. I like this card art. Not as much detail on his weapon. I think he's got like a weird coral backsword thing going on, but it's kind of in shadow, which I wish that would be sharper. But I like this color scheme, kind of the purple and gray with the red, right? He does have some Konami orbs. We got some early orb action. That's a little bit of a minus, but I like what we got going on here. He's got some interesting stuff with his tail and whatnot. His belly fins are a little weird, but I think are at least anatomically correct. But I like his energy, right? Like his hand out there just being like, yeah, you can fucking get me. I'm the big boy.
Reminds me weirdly of a generator card. I don't know why. Feels like the posing.
Yeah. And he is also a very large boy. Generators are, they're all called bosses, so they are generally sizable. So, Lead is another one of your Sea Serpents, level 7s. 2,700 attack, 1,000 defense. So, yes, large stat upgrade. Though you will have to pay for this because you do have to discard 3 other water monsters to your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. But when special summon this way, you target an Abyss spell trap in your graveyard and add them. You contribute 1 other attack position Mermail monster. Hand rip a random card from your opponent. You can only use this once per turn. So at least it's a hopped, but hand rip, baby. I think you can see why Lead is not as popular. He requires you to add back a spell trap from your graveyard, and he requires you to pitch 3 monsters. That's still a pretty decent extension. I think you might play one of in certain wombo combos, and I certainly think that his ability to randomly rip 1 is funny. Also, it's, by the way, specifically send to graveyard, so cards that proc off discarding don't count. It's randomly send to graveyard, not randomly discard. But in general, I don't think this boy is as popular as Megalo because he's not as much of an OTK tool. Ever since Gishki loops, I think there has been some idea of... Well, honestly, actually, ever since fucking Spiritual Water Art, water has had, a hand rip possible theme. But I think it's not as popular and it's not as good, so... Lead is not very popular in that respect, though he certainly has big bonkulous energy with his attack stat. Alright, so let's pull up our next one. And chat, I'm going to need you not to laugh at this boy. He's trying very hard, okay? He's very serial. It's not his fault that people name fish dumb things.
No.
So this is Abyss Nose. He is named after the elephant nose fish, which is kind of the pattern you got going on his helmet.
Reminds me of the other, sparkly guy.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I like that he's got the electric thing going on. That's cool. Is the elephant nose fish have bioelectricity? Oh, yeah, it has electroreception. That's cute. Okay. Fun animal facts. It does actually, have that weird pointy trunk nose, just like this guy has. I also think this scan didn't try to add any extra detail. His face is actually like that low poly in the regular card art. I think it's supposed to be because there's a lighting effect. There's harsh lights from the sparks he's throwing out. It does make him, when he's blown up like this, a little low detail. The bright colors flatten out a lot of his shading, which is kind of a shame. But otherwise, he's okay. I like the, rubber gloves touch. That's some extra fun details here. He looks okay. He does, unfortunately, look like he has a little bit of a beak nose under that one, a big schnauzer. But this is another level 4 fish. He's 15-15. Almost said 14. That's not wrong. 15-15. And unfortunately, he's bad. This is why you've never heard or seen Nose before. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, keep in mind this is probably one of the lowest attackers on your list, other than the 2 that are very distinctly defense position monsters.
My question is, what are you going to destroy, though? A token?
Yeah, with 1,500, I mean, yes, Lung does modulate by 300, so it becomes 18. Yes, you can add an Abyss Scale to, make him 23, but still it's bad. You can discard a water monster to special summon a Muriel from your deck and face up defense position. This guy's just a shittier Linde. You would play Linde, and then you'd have options to blow up your own board or let your opponent just destroy her, then play this. If they really wanted this to work, Konami should have given him, like, the 1800 stat line. Yes, I know they have big attack modulation, but that's not a problem. All right, Dallas is here.
I was going to try saying it, but you kept talking to me.
I had to finish my thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, Abyss knows. Doesn't really do a lot for this deck. You already have way more 4s than you need, and, you know... Even in 2013 format, I don't think you were doing a lot of running over of your opponent's monsters with your small boys.
I think he might have been at 1 of as a literal name, and that's about it.
And I don't even think you need it, other than the fact that, like, I guess hypothetically he can attack. You are not going to attack with Lung or Mander because they have awful attack
I think
stats.
I mean for literally the very first format.
Well, he wasn't in the first wave. He's a second wave.
Oh.
So this is what I was saying before you got here. You already had 4 level 4 names, so I don't think Nose was ever very popular.
No.
I do believe our next one actually did see some play over some of the other 7s, though. It's time for Mermaid Abystius. Oh, this is a big art.
Yeah, he's probably the second most played.
Reminder, chat, if you got here late, I still have to grab random upscales off the internet because Yugipedia is still broken. Please let them download your cache so they can hopefully fucking get back faster. Okay, thanks, bye. But yeah, Abystius is a big turtle man. Let's see.
He's not a looker, but he comes up a lot because I think he's actually good.
I mean, he's better than some of the other 7s we'll get to.
Like second best or something?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
After,
it's Dunkleostus, which is, in case you couldn't tell... Actually, no, it's a fish. Okay, he is a fish. I thought would be a turtle with that face. It's from... Oh, okay, that's why he looks like that. It's an extinct member of the order Arthrodyra, which means jointed neck in Greek. They are armored fish. So, big bony plates.
Cool.
But yeah, Abystius, he looks all right. I mean, like I said, I thought he was a turtle, not a fish man, though he does have a fishtail you can see in this. I think his weapon actually works. He's got like a little coral lance thing. That's kind of cool. The color scheme is a little drab, but it works. Kind of the olive green with the purplish adjacent, I want to say, gray. I should probably, like, hold on, let me do some eyedropper shit here. What do we think this color is? Yeah, that's definitely like a lilac or a lavender, a lightish purple. It works though. Like Abyss Lead, which is another 7 that's not as popular. Dallas just missed us talking about him. He's got the Konami orbs, but it's early orbs. The orbs at least matches eye color. That's kind of cute.
I mean, I feel like this might be the most generic of all of the Mermaid cards, if that makes any sense. Of all the 7s, at least.
Yeah, he's definitely got the most restrained design. Megalo and Lead, who we've already seen, are like, those guys are pretty big, burly boys with lots of extra fins and shit.
Though, to be fair, I forgot Lead even existed, so that might be a point in Lead's favor.
Well, you forgot Lead existed because he's not very good. They gave him a sack one to hand rip, but hopped. I.e., will never be played.
True. But here's the thing, Omega. I remember the 4th 7 because it's so bad.
Well, that's true. Fail Whale is iconic. Hence why the name of the stream.
Yeah.
Like, but I feel like that's like the ultimate, overcommit. So Abystius is another level 7. He is an Aqua, so they do actually vary these. I believe Balian might also be an Aqua, not a Sea Serpent, so it's funny. He's a level 7. He only has 1,700 attack, but has 2,400 defense. 2K, 4 hundo. And he only requires you to discard one other water monster to special summon him. When summoned this way, add a level 4 lower mermail from your deck to your hand. You don't use this effect of Abyssius once per turn. By the way, that would mean that you do get to proc the summon effect of, what's her name? Dine, when she's searched this way. Yeah, I feel like Stius is the... Stius here. He's probably the second most popular just because he sets up your rank 7 package way better than the others because he only requires you to pitch 1. Megalo requires you to pitch 2. Obviously, you're usually plussing off pitching in Mermails, but you have to have, monsters to pitch.
Funny story about that. Modern Mermail is not a rank 7 deck anymore.
Oh, no. I said this earlier when you weren't here, but there's a reason why Konami gave them a Link monster, and possibly why Konami hasn't given them more Link monsters.
They're not even really a Link deck anymore. They're like a weird hybrid. Like, I'm just basing this off of the last time they were relevant, which was actually surprisingly recently.
Yes.
They came in second in a 2020 YCS equivalent.
We mentioned this, yeah. So they were kicking around for a while.
Their extra deck is just everywhere.
Well, so I was talking about this a little earlier. Mermails are very popular as kind of one of the backbones of a water dot deck. So obviously, internally, Mermails are an Xyz archetype that got Link support later. Their Swarm of the Board style makes them very good at Xyz plays and at Link plays. But hey, you know what's like another thing that water monsters are known for doing?
Yeah.
Synchroing. You can teach the fish to synchro summon.
Because even early Mermail had more synchro than Xyz because...
Yeah. Well, because you would run, the Undyne controller engine. You could run Deep Sea Diva.
Yeah,
I think Fishborg Blaster was already illegal by the time they came out.
It was still banned.
But there are later Fishborg cards that aren't as broken as Blaster.
Deep Sea Diva was enough to turn them into, like, of course you ran the obligatory one big eye and one Megalos, but the rest of your extra deck was
but like
pretty
sevens are good, so there's a couple you can pick from. I don't think they're the most efficient package for Dracosac, for instance, but they work. But yeah, Mermail is so popular because it and Waters in general are a crazy mutable deck strategy. I was talking about this earlier with Megalo. Technically, you don't need the extra deck. If your opponent has a bad enough board state, Megalo gets to search a spell trap and he gets to attack twice. Depending on your game state, that might be the end of the game right there.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like Mermails can just do full offense pretty much.
You can just clobber your opponent and go aggro, which I appreciate. But Abyssius, if you are trying to set up your rank 7 plays, Abyssius is a good guy to add, and he does search a level 4 or lower as well. So I think he's an all right boy to add.
To archetype or
level 4 or lower Mermail monster, yes. So it is in archetype.
Okay. So
it's not perfect,
amazing,
but there are variants of this, and
I think just because of how easy he is to summon, he's still just a 3-0
and throughout the
down.
2012, 2013, I think even in the 2014, and yes, in case you forgot, chat, or weren't here, when they came out in late 2012, Mermails were a viable strategy until the Pendulum era.
I'd argue on that a little bit.
Yeah, technically it was a little before Duelist Alliance format, but
there's a stretch from 2013 to 2014 where I'm not gonna say Mermails was a bad deck, but there's two very notable decks ripping apart the meta.
But the thing is, you were still seeing some Mermail decks being played during Ruler format because Tidal is fucking stupid.
I also think part of it might be price tag.
Also true, yeah. While there are a couple of chase cards, like for instance, Abyss Tias is an Ultra, Abyss Linde was an Ultra. They did a pretty good job of reprinting these cards over time eventually, but
I say this with full love. Mermails was the math mech of 2013.
Yeah, seems fair. But they've kind of been off and on popular, and until I assume Tidal finally going to fucking prison probably nixed a little bit of the explosivity of the deck, and it couldn't keep up with early pen strats.
Well, it wasn't even early pen strats. It was because remember pen was.
Well, yeah. When I say I should say this early pen era strats, because that would be
it was Shadal.
I don't think this does anything about Shadal, or I don't know how do you out towers in a mermail deck? I don't actually know if you've got anything for that.
No, you actually have some ways to out towers.
Okay.
Well, I was saying you have a ways to respond to them trying to summon powers.
Yes. So, like, there were a couple of decks in the early Pendulum era that Mermail didn't really hit, and so Mermail went to sleep until Neptibus came out, which is a card we will talk about. We'll talk about Atlanteans.
Really
so.
notice they went to rogue sleep.
Yes. I mean, yeah, people are still playing them, and I'm sure at your locals you will find people playing Mermail or some variant of Water Dot deck with some Mermails in it today.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the Atlanteans kind of took over from the Mermails pretty early on.
Yeah.
Like, even in Mermail decks, as far as the level 4, rank 4 guys go, they don't run a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think you run, like, 2 Linde.
No, Linde's a 3. You probably...
No, not in later builds.
I mean, Linde is a 3. She has, I mean, not like number.
Oh,
she is a level 3.
I'm sorry, my mistake.
Like, yes, you probably don't run her at 3 copies anymore because her effect is slow.
Yeah, you run like 1 Gunday, 1 Sturge.
But yes, Sturge and/or Spike, depending on what you think your deck is doing, because those search on normal.
And then 3 Megalo, 3 Abyss Steelers.
But yeah, like
they just say water, not Mermail.
And honestly, like, I think part of that is just because I don't know if the other than the fact that I'm pretty sure Dragoons is an 1800, which is something that Mermails don't have. None of the Atlanteans are necessarily a crazy good normal summon either until you get to Neptibus. Neptibus is just like, hey, can you put Neptibus on the field? Do that.
True, but they did have one good normal summon. The Diva.
Well, yeah, that's another good one out of deck. But they got their second Xyz during this time as well, because like I said, their first Gaios was their big boy, but it didn't actually do a whole hell of a lot. Some of the time it's a floodgate, but it's kind of a limiting one, and so you got to be careful about that. It kind of gums up your own OTKs, so Gaios you have to be cautious with. So they gave them a little bit more of a utility monster. No, that's right. I grabbed my color, so hold on. Let me just...
Ooh, he's played less than Gaios.
This is Abyss Trite.
In fact, I don't think she's played in, like, any deck.
So name is kind of from Amphitrite, which is the wife of Poseidon. Makes perfect sense. You know, this is the queen to Gaios' king.
She's got bridal veils, and she's kind of pretty. They're like, it feels like
she's got some veil stuff going on.
She's got a little baby of her face.
Yeah, I mean, that's
got
just
some weird face.
Yes.
Also
The shading is not great in some of these cards. I assume it's because she's supposed to be kind of like having a halo of light around her, but yeah, it's a little weirdly blown out again. Her nose doesn't have a very clearly defined line.
She doesn't look quite as bad as her Link counterpart does to me. But
and you'll notice that there's like no detailing on her fingers, her hand down there. There's just like very, very vague lines. I think again the idea is there's supposed to be like a lens flare here, but
yeah, she got Lego hands.
It's well, at least she has one Lego hand, because her other hand is like okay, all the fingers, cool, got it. But yeah, that's one thing I'll say. Like, the background and the shading there is really cool. I feel like a lot of the Mermails have a shading problem in general. The artists did not necessarily know how they wanted to shade these faces, so a lot of them end up like really washed out with lost detail, and it's weird. But overall, like, it's a pretty decent, color scheme. I think they're going for kind of like a dolphin type tail appearance here with like the way the flukes are drawn. Yellow and purple with a little bit of gray. It works. Abyss Trite is a rank 3 Xyz. She has 1600 attack, 2800 defense. And you may be thinking, like, wow, that's pretty big for a rank 3. It's because she does require 3 3s. She is generic, though, so it's any 3 level 3 monsters. And
yeah, but
Mermail's not necessarily hurting for the combos to do this. It's just that, again, she does not necessarily win your game right away.
Here's the thing, Omega. There has been, I think I can think of exactly 1 3-mat Xyz without any other special shenanigans that has ever been massively played. And it's Shockmaster. So that's basically the bar.
Other three mats have been played, but usually they're played in very specific archetype decks. Which technically this would.
I genuinely can't think of any.
I mean, you would hard make some of the... God, I hate talking about stellar monsters because there's like 2 or 3 different names. Some of those are 3-mat, and you would actually make them in certain combos. I'm sure Axe can maybe remember which ones were.
Let's see. I'm remembering a few, but it's like I don't know the exact name of
the
them. But
stellar, I mean, not that the stellar decks were super great, but they were around.
you don't really use like the rank 3 usually. Usually it was
No,
the 4 and the 5.
3-mat.
Yeah, specifically the 3
3.
mats. I mean, look at
Well,
the
one of the 3 mats
wiki
you
has a
can't
list.
make in Constellar. 'Cause it's a 3-mat
Well,
5.
yeah, Bujinki Amaterasu, I think actually, like, not popular, but has seen some play. But you don't make any of those CXCs. You don't make Infinity that way.
Yeah.
Ouroboros did see some play, but it wasn't as popular as the other Evil Swarm XCs. Let's see, I don't think you make any of those... You don't make any of these Galaxy Eyes monsters that way.
No. That's what I'm saying. Most of the 3-mat...
I mean, you could play Pet Phantasmal Dragon, but I think the rank 7 line was a lot better.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's like, I can't think of many that are...
I think you cheat out
What?
Shark Drake. I'm just reading down the list, yeah.
You don't play Shark Drake.
Well, not
You
anymore,
just
but I think
play,
you did actually.
No, even back then you just played the what's the other one?
Bahamut Shark?
No, the it's like water number something like water shark thingy. It's his number monster. I can't remember what it's
I
called.
mean, he has several. One of which was surely Shark Drake. Heraldry Crest you actually played in Heraldic Beasts, but again, that's not a super great deck. There's a lot of number monsters that are 3-mat that's very, very specific. Star Seraph Sentry, which again, Star Seraphs were set up to do.
Yeah. Like, other than Star Seraph and Constellar, which are literally set up to do make all of guys.
Yeah, there's
all
a
we
couple
do.
of Raid Raptors, but I think those mostly you cheat with rank ups.
Yeah, you cheat.
Deltaros and Trivier, which isn't Trivier still banned? Though I think you can you cheat that one? No, he's
No,
rank
Trivier
4.
is Trivier you cheat out.
And it's unlimited, okay. I think it was at one point.
It's easier to do in like Talon because usually it's like
No.
it's usually an opening line.
Oh,
But
my
yeah,
God.
cards like Liba and Magnus are all cheaters.
The thing that killed a lot of Stellar decks is the card they used to cheat out of the 3-mat guys got banned. Because
Right,
you could
yeah.
also cheat out Cyber Dragon.
I think Trivier was limited at some point, but they just went they went around that and fixed the other problem.
Yeah, that killed.
Yeah, now having played some Mermail decks, Trite is not actually that hard to make.
No, it's just not worth it.
It's just that it's one of those things. Lots yelling about Sea Stealth. He's in the call waiting for his PC to fire up. Yeah, Sea Stealth is annoying. Skill Drain. MBT has, like, I think, cracked the code where he's just been like, oh, wow, Konami just gives Rogue Archetype skill drains.
We'll talk about that later, I assume.
Yeah, there's, like, 2 Earth Arctic cards. We can talk about how fucking awful they are.
Well, no, the other ones, too.
There's a few.
Basically,
yeah.
it's now a 2-part skill drain, but yeah.
No. Some good archetypes got some good support, too.
Yeah, there's some other
Don't
shit.
forget about that.
I don't think there's any skill drains in the Infernable stuff.
No.
Or the Evil Toe. No, they're not, but they're great.
These are just 4...
Man, that
Yeah,
rank
no,
6,
Evil's
that
good.
rank 6, rank 12 Dino deck's gonna be great.
Oh, yeah, no, Transcendrake is going to be great because they're printing new 6s that work with dinos.
I would argue that at this point, we can call it pushed at this point, right?
Oh, yeah, no, they're coordinating. I mean, like, we talked about how those Rex Raptor cards are not really that good, but even then, some of them are. One of them is just a Transcendrake card because it's got, like, the
still
jokes
also
about
look.
it. But,
You
like,
can also like. It also should search Dogron, so it's still useful.
no, it's not. Why are you playing Dogoron? He's got 3K.
Yeah. Also, your dinos. Why are you playing Yoderon?
You just make a bigger
It was
asshole.
more. It's.
No, Axe. You want those cards to be good for some reason, and they're not
No,
great.
they're not.
But
They're-
No,
that,
it's more of.
you
I
haven't
didn't think
played
they were
Dino.
terrible, but you guys kept saying like they're the worst things fucking ever. So
I mean, they're not. I think especially with how push dinos are, they're better, but they're also not great compared to other dinosaur support. They're very mid. I think technically with
Alright,
that extra rank
you're
6 play,
kinder than I am. I think they're flat out useless cards.
I mean, I, knowing Yu-Gi-Oh
With the
players,
exception of the Transcendent card.
Yeah.
Which is
I knowing
not a
Yu-Gi-Oh
real
players know that
threat.
some of those cards will see more play. And
Yeah,
God
the
knows what
Transcendent
cards
play.
will be hit in the banned card. But I think that there's a line because the new twin-headed King Rex is a 6 you can normal. That might see play in certain versions of the deck. I still don't think that's the optimal pick, but
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh players are weird.
That's true. There may be some like fucking YGO replay tier combo nonsense.
Yeah,
with that
like
card, but-
that guy exists as a normal starter. I don't think it's having read it. I still don't think it's a good card, but it
We can
might
all agree
just
that
be playable enough.
The big one is objectively a useless
No,
card.
the Super Twin-Headed King Rex has a problem where his stat line isn't better than pre-existing dinosaur boss monsters who are not banned.
And he still has a battle phase effect.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and he has a battle phase effect that's not Ultimate Conductor.
Yeah, that's not everything explodes.
The problem is that just there's so much better dinosaur monsters that it's like, why? I mean, I guess if you really want to cosplay Rex Raptor, sure,
That's
but
literally the only reason.
it doesn't work. It just doesn't do enough compared to other shit you can run. Unless they're planning on like banning Ultimate Conductor, I don't fucking know, but I don't think so.
That'd be just ban. If you really want to kill Dino, and Dino gets like 2 out of hand, you just have to shoot the baby.
Yeah.
Just shoot the baby, and the deck is dead.
Is
I would
Misk
say not
still
even
at
shoot
1?
it. Just put it in a fucking. Never mind.
No, I'm saying baby Cerosaurus.
No, yeah, it is. I'm just wondering what
That
Misk's
kills
current
the deck.
status is. I think it might still be
Still
1
one.
at the OCG, or is it 1 in the TCG
No, in
as well?
TCG.
Okay.
It's 3 at
Yeah.
It's 3 in in OCG. 1 in
Anyway,
TCG.
we should actually say what Trite does. She's got a big booty, but her effects are during either player's turn. When your opponent targets exactly one face of Mermail, you control for an attack, or with a spell trap effect that could have targeted this card, you can attach an Xyz, make it target this card. When this card is destroyed and sent, you can target a Mermail except Trite, special summon it. So she gives your monsters the protection they didn't have, and she loops back. It's not a blanket protection, though, so it still doesn't stop you from being board blasted. This is the thing we were talking about earlier, Dallas, that Mermails have an overextension problem. If your opponent plays a board breaker, you just fucking die.
And especially now, because honestly, their best board protection card got banned.
So it's...
So, yeah, because they used to use Toad to board protect.
Yes, Mermail Frogs was a popular brew. But...
I mean, it's not even Mermail Frogs. I will throw 1 Ronin Tonin and 3 Swap Frogs in my deck, and now I have a Toad.
Yeah, or you can also, because this is a Water 4 deck, you can just play the Bahamut Shark Axis as well.
Yeah, they did that too.
Yeah. There's so many fun ways, and this is unfortunately why Toad is bouncing in and out of jail. It's because,
Yeah, he should stay in jail.
depending on the deck, he's really too easy to make, which gets unfortunate. But now it's time to talk about the big
Okay.
whiff.
I just need to say this.
Well, I
mean,
gotta
I
pull
don't
the
know.
card
I
out
don't.
for it.
I don't know if this is terrible, but like, what we always joke about, but like, jail exists for a reason, even though in society, it exists for bad reason.
I mean, I don't think jail exists for a bad reason in society. You have to do something with people who have antisocial or delinquent behaviors. Is your solution
It's
shoot them
true.
in the face? No.
No.
Fair,
no,
it's more-
Our
It's
modern
more-
our
it's
modern
used
prison
well.
system with for-profit prisons is not being implemented for the correct
I still
purpose.
disagree with jail as a concept, but that's just because I don't think it has ever been used in a truly rehabilitative stance. But that's a different argument.
That's a different argument.
Yes. The idea that you need a place to put people who are running counter to your society is not inherently wrong. It's just, again, we have problems with late-stage capitalism. Wow, he's tiny.
In every stage.
Here, nope, I did that the wrong way. I mistyped.
I remember this dude.
Do you remember him sucking?
Fail whale.
Other than that one time, I think MBT actually managed to fucking win with him.
Okay, he
I
doesn't.
don't remember him sucking, but I remember him
suck.
just being. I just remember being memorable for like it being like this kind of
He's
whale. that
very
dude-
bricky.
He's
Um,
very, very mid.
It's a card that's notorious because you think he's really cool, but then when you play him, you are like, shit, I've got 2 Abyss Baleen in my hand. What do I do?
All right, then read me his effects so I can understand how like.
Well, we should actually talk about what he looks like first, because I think this is actually like a pretty baller card art. He's like
It
a
is
big
cool.
toothed whale. I like this big hammer he has.
It's very bristly. Is the way to put
There's
it.
one
Yeah, it's
part of
Bailey.
this art that ruins it.
What part of this don't you like?
It just makes it goofy. Like, if they're going for goofy vibes, that's fine. But he has a Baleen mustache, and I can't unsee that.
I mean,
Technically,
I like that
technically,
because it's
it's
like
a
he's meant to be kind of
saber-tooth.
like the big old burly man.
Yeah, but that's not how Baleen
whale.
works.
Well, yeah.
Ever.
No, baleen doesn't grow outside of your mouth like that. And yes, he's Abyss baleen because he's based on a
Like
baleen
that.
whale, which are almost all extinct.
Oh no.
The only baleen whales I believe that are left are the humpback and the gray whale.
Aren't blue whales Baleen whales?
I don't think they're of the appropriate. Let me double check. Let's see. Extant subspecies.
Yeah, blue whales are Baleen whales. I remembered a thing.
Oh no, that's right. I got that wrong. It's the other way around. Baleen whales are all whales except humpbacks and gray whales. Those are toothed whales then.
No,
So
no,
you've
no.
got-
It's sperm and the gray whales are tooth whales. Humpback and blue are Baleen.
Okay, this Wikipedia thing is written like an idiot. Then I can't understand what the fuck it means.
It is. Omega.
Seriously, let me read this to you, chat. Balaenoptera, from the Latin balena, whale, and the ancient Greek patera, fin. So, by the way, this is a fucking fake-ass genus name. It is Latin and Greek. How dare you? It's a genus of rorquals, which is apparently just another way to say baleen whales. It's just a group containing 8 extant species. Balaenoptera comprises all but 2 of the extant species in its family, the humpback whale and the gray whale. Semicolon, this genus is currently polyphyletic, the 2 aforementioned species being polyphylegenetically nested in it. Okay, so phylogenetic, sorry. So I guess that means that there's like a subcategory inside baleen whales that contain some other
Yes.
families, but they're all
Well, no.
really similar.
So gray whales aren't traditional baleen whales. They're celothurid. I'm not gonna say that word.
Why are we having? Can we like?
Because fuck you, axe whales.
Okay. I just like.
Well, we're trying to crack the name, so there are extinct baleen whales.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I know we're arguing that 3 species still exist, but this is out of like
There are
almost
8
20.
There are 8 baleen whale species that are alive right now that are strictly speaking Balaenoptera. Part of this
Yeah,
I
but
blame the
there's
Yugi
still,
Wiki,
like,
by the way, for that.
10 dead ones.
Yeah, there's like another at least 8, and many of which are obscure because they don't even have fucking hyperlinks on Wikipedia. But anyway, remember that the big abysses, the 7s, are named after extinct creatures.
Yeah, and I think this is specifically a oh god, what is it called? Baligadindai? Because the coloring is not correct
Yeah.
for any of the alive
Also, I
whales.
like what somebody said in chat. Felipe said the ones with the Warhammer went extinct in 2003. Yes,
Yes.
solid. I do like the hammer. It's
do
a little
as well.
weirdly top heavy. I don't mind the Baleen mustache because it's funny.
It just reminds me of like WoW.
It's not any weird. I mean, I'm sure it does. Yeah, this is your weird. If WoW was like, we're adding a whale race, it would be this guy.
Let
all have
me bring
beards.
up a picture of the Tuskar.
Well, okay, this is what
I
a
don't-
male whale man would look like. A female whale man would be like a Zora princess. That's right. Wow, I'm on to you.
They're always sexually dimorphic in a really dumb way.
You're the reason that one internet image exists.
No, that's not fair.
I'm
Omega, that is not
I'm
a
acting
fair
my
comparison.
I'm acting my zygote powers. I think
Because-
I vaguely don't know what that is. Which one
You probably have seen this meme.
I have, but I have not. I don't remember it clearly at all.
Here's the thing, Omega. Here's the thing, though. I would agree with you if WoW was at all consistent with this at all in any of their genuses. Because you have orcs, which are not that sexually dimorphic from each other.
Or the
And then you
trolls.
have fucking Draenei, which, yeah, trolls are
Are.
pretty similar to each other. And then Draenei, who, one of them are chunky, massive space goat men, and then the other ones are very petite and look like night
Dallas is
elves.
also abusing his mod powers to post gifts and announcements.
Oh, that's announcements. Oops.
Ah.
That was a mistake.
As it turns out, Dallas does have the reading ability of the Yu-Gi-Oh player.
guess.
I'm smiling too hard from that. I don't know why.
Because you like the pretense that you're punching down when I don't actually care.
No, I think it's just I compulsively fire a shot when I really don't need to.
Yes.
Yes, you do that.
As evidenced by Loth
Anyway,
posting
this
dig
is
up.
a Tuskar. This is just what I
Yeah.
just imagine every time I see a Abyss Bailey.
No, it's definitely in that zone.
By the way, I can't tell if that's a male or female. They look the same.
So Balin's another 7. He, like CS, is a Aqua 1. He has 2,500 attack, 2k defense, so pretty median stats in this line. Better than Megalo, but not as much as Lead, but also, you know, different ones. You can discard 4 other Mermail monsters to the graveyard. Yes, this guy is Mermail locked. Special summon this card from your hand when you do. Target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Mermail monsters in your graveyard. This card gains 500 attack, and if it does, destroy those targets, if any. You contribute 1 other face-up attack position Mermail monster. This card gains the following effect this turn. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a defense position monster, destroy that monster. So, on the one hand, what they want this to be is you pitch 4 Mermails, you blow up your opponent's entire board, that he becomes a 3k attacker, you win the game.
The problem with this is Mermail decks don't actually run that many Mermails.
No, by the time this guy, you know, this came out in our second wave of support,
Which was already post Atlantic.
actually, no, that's right. I'm wrong. This is actually this is the start of their third wave of support. This is Lords of the Tachyon Galaxy, which is in the middle of 2013.
No, I understand, but
They already had
second
2
wave
waves of support, and I think the Atlantean structure deck had already come out as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah, no, that came out after their first wave.
so like, you already had way better cards to play in your deck. I know that, like, I think the reason why he is known as the Fail Whale is because, like it says, on paper, this card is like, oh shit, you discard 4 monsters. You get to pop 4 and win the game. You don't, though, because you need 4 other Mermail monsters in your hand. So this means that your starting hand is, what? Fail Whale 4 monsters? It's just, it's a bait card. It's a card that sounds really cool, and it wins the game. In order for you to actually win the game at this stage, keeping in mind he only does 3k damage, technically, you have to be so up on your opponent to actually win it that it's usually just not worth it.
This is the true image. Sorry.
It's true.
That is the true
Dallas found the
image.
extended version of the meme I posted.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Show me the difference between a Blood Elf male and a Blood Elf female. I don't believe you.
Boobs, I think, sometimes. That's not always consistent, though.
Look, I'm zoomed out enough where I can't tell.
Fair. Also, they're usually all wearing billowy robes.
Or dorky armor. But, yeah, no.
Yeah,
but,
so,
you know,
like...
This Valiant is just a... It's one of those cards that are... If an archetype was... All of the archetype was the best option for the archetype, it'd be good, but... Unfortunately, Dragoons, Heavy Infantry, Deep Sea Diva, Fishboard Blaster, Jet Synchron, Swap Frog, Ronin Totem...
There's so many
Mount
other
Bosnia,
non-Mermails.
like-
Even if you were just running Mermail Atlantean, which was a very popular brew,
Yeah,
you're
that's the
running
best,
like 3 or 4 Atlantean names, depending on the era.
Yeah.
None of whom are
And
Mermails.
You're never not running Deep Sea because you need a way to synchronize.
Well, yeah. So, like, it's just... It's out there. And unfortunately, I believe that their other one in this batch is also similarly just... It's a fun... If you're running pure Mermail, she's a fun card, but it's just not doing enough for the deck as a concept. So this is Abyssosia.
No, I think she's running a couple of decks.
I think there's a reasonable variant to this, but it's not the best. I think there are better brews than you can run with Osea.
It does look like this art
Oh, Osea.
was-
Okay.
yes,
never
was
Osea.
smoothed out. Like, I upscaled and like smoothed out, but like,
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I feel like it's a nice plating design. Like, it just looks like
I mean-
it's the blonde sister of the 3.
I mean, like, you can tell it has been up-resed and smoothed out, but the card art is like this ocean water and this moonscape looks that good in the card art. Like, that's all
It does
stone
look
there.
pretty good. It's a flying fish, right?
Yes,
I'm
clearly
gonna
meant to
be
a flying
real.
fish.
I have one huge problem with this art.
Which one?
And it just looks like she's wearing cosplay.
I would
Like,
say
none
it
of
looks
the
like
fish body
Mai if
looks
she became
real.
a fish lady.
I mean, that might be a shading effect to the upres. I mean, she looks like all the other abysses, so I don't really notice anything. Which fin?
Her back, her dorsal fin, I think it's called. No, not dorsal
No,
fin.
it's the tail fin.
The tail fin looks fake.
Yeah. But yeah, I finally finished consuming my food. To say that.
Consume the cat.
Missed out on. Look, it was arm day after Monday was leg day. I needed a moment.
I assume you were allowed to skip leg day.
God damn
Go
it,
skip
Axe.
leg day.
I would have preferred that fish than this.
It's the same fucking fish.
Nah, it's a lady. That's not a fish.
All right,
Like,
I'm
you
gonna.
know, just-
So
Let's just move on.
I'm
What's her
glad.
effects?
I'm glad I need to take a piss break because I'm done with these guys.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back.
Hey, I thought the leg day was good. I thought that out of my head and actually planned it out.
The fact that you thought that joke was good is gonna make me have to.
Hey, it got a reaction on Loth. It worked out. That's all I wanted.
Reaction.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know
because
what?
Oh no, my first thought was, man, Axe does love punching up.
Like-
You hand out like challenges to people who, and it's like you really
Aw.
can't cash them.
I'm usually not challenging people, or I don't think I see it as that. But...
You're rattling your saber at anyone who passes by,
Oh.
and then when no one accepts the challenge, you're like, I win.
I've never felt victory in anything in my life. So thank you, good
And
sir.
then when you lose, you're just like, I didn't lose, I just failed to win.
Doesn't. It's a circular argument. But
Yeah, but that's the logic though.
I guess that's how I present because I don't process it like that. I'm real.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
I just
Like-
got done with
I'm back.
ripping Master Duel to pieces.
Oh,
For
good, I
what?
can
Which
really-
thing?
Oh, I found a new deck that I've
Oh.
just been enjoying playing.
Please tell me it's not Water Dog Deck. I've been seeing enough of that already.
Nah, it's punk.
Punk is
Punk's
pretty
pretty
interesting.
I saw. Okay, hold on. Is it actual punk or is it punk that leads into fucking the most powerful Skull Servant?
What?
Punk's
Because
awesome.
that's been going around for some reason.
I haven't seen any Millpunk.
Nah,
It
just-
starts off with punk and leads into Skull Servant.
Oh no,
I
a
don't know
Shizu
why.
Punk is a deck, but that's not what I'm playing because I don't have the dust for that.
Yeah, Punk is interesting. I just don't have the time to get
that
into it.
costs you like all of the jewels. I'm just playing normal Punk.
Well, I fulfilled my goal or daily requirement, which is piss off Omega with one of my about that statements or facts. I prefer the fish over the lady. That's just me.
Well, you can't fuck the lady.
Also, it's the same
Yeah.
fucking. The fish bits are the same. It's a flying
the fish
fish. She's
bits are
based
the
off a flying fish.
Yeah.
The flying fish tail looks like just like the regular tail.
Oh my
Anyway,
God, please
now that
We
we've
know.
confirmed that Loth
I
is
feel
a
like
fish fucker,
You're not
chat,
getting the point.
chat.
don't. No.
I need you every stream, by the way, to type that Loth is a fish fucker. Thank you. That's right, Loth. I've made it a meme. It won't go away now.
It will because I don't think it's that great.
No, it won't.
Done.
I mean,
I got 14 people watching this fucking stream right now.
well, 3 of those are us.
So,
Still 10.
There we go. Now everyone in China knows.
Now all in
Who the
China
fuck's
know
in
you
China?
fuck fish.
anyway, Abyssia
And I
is...
can just say Omega did it.
Abyssia is an interesting. This was their only other at least monster card that was released in Tachyon Galaxy. Same release as Baleen. I think she's an interesting concept, but it's not super effective for anything but your pure builds. This is a Water Aqua, so she's a 3. She's got 1100 attack and 1900 defense, so actually decent defense
Decent- yeah,
stats for
decent
their
defense.
line there for a 3. Her effect, though, is target a mermaid monster you control, special summon any number of level 4 or lower mermaid monsters from your deck whose combined levels are less than or equal to the level of that monster. then send that monster to the graveyard. You're going to use this effect of Abyssio once per turn. So what I assume this is supposed to do is let you convert, you know, a Fail Whale, an Abystius, a Megalo into more mats so that you can either more easily summon, say, Abyss Trite, or so that you can, you know, cycle out, get your Abyssdine activations, for instance, because that's, you know, special summoned by a Mermail effect. Just basically put more mats on board. My main problem is she doesn't have an inherent special summon effect. And this doesn't, like, proc in the graveyard. This is only when you summon her and you have another... Actually, no, you can target herself. So you can cycle her for, like, a level 4 or level 3. But still, that's just, like, why not just play better level 4s? You know what I mean?
She's just bad Atlanteans.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept to cycle out, but I don't think it does enough. And I think, like, obviously this was, you know, like 3 years before Neptibus came out, but they got better versions of this card.
They got better.
So I don't think that this like, it's a cool concept. It gives you an interesting way to, like I said, to like break up your big 7s into other shit. It's just, I don't think that does enough for you to actually... This is a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes, and I think basically this was what, like, Dream Mirror's problem was, for instance. Lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards do stuff, and because, you know, it's an evergreen card pool, you can't really, like, necessarily print a card that just does the exact same thing as another card, right? It either has to be your archetype specific or you do something new. There's lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that just do stuff to do stuff, and it doesn't really matter. And I think like, Abyssio falls into that category.
She's like a weird recovery extender, way to put it.
Well, no, it's an extender because she's from your deck.
But sometimes it's funny.
You know, the idea is that she like fetches out from your deck more guys.
Omega, can I get my permission to share the jankiest thing I've done with my punk deck?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm running instant Neos fusion.
Of course you are.
Because I can synchro one of the punks and Aqua Dolphin into Cheng Yang.
Wow. But
Or Baron. And
yeah,
also
it's not really
paying
that
life
crazy.
points is good for the deck. I'm also running that one Thunder guy, the guy who you have to pay 3k life to summon.
She looks cool.
Yes, this
Hey,
is Abyss Nere.
I've noticed like their support feels like they're just going into deeper water trenches to find more cards.
Yes.
What?
To really lean into it, I fuck that fish.
Well, you'll notice, by the way, that this card came out much later. This is part of their legacy support. She was in Circuit Break, so this is early Link format. You'll notice that Konami has realized that they don't hate belly buttons anymore because this card art is uncensored. This is not like this. I mean, it is the original OCG art, but there's no TCG art where they decided to paint over her belly button area. They just went with it.
Yeah, they didn't give her a weird bodysuit.
So,
thematically,
thematically, this name is obviously like a Nereid, and Osea is probably like an Oceanid. But the fish she's like is the coelacanth, which is funny.
Yeah, it's a
coelacanth. Yeah.
Can I ask one question though? Because there is one part of this art that is bothered.
Which one?
It's the hand.
Yeah, is it the
her left hand? What
the
is
raised
she
one?
Or right hand, I think. Yeah, the raised one. What is she doing with her hand, and which direction is it?
I think she's like. I think it's supposed to be like she's swimming through the water. It's another weird one. We've talked about this, and I don't know if they got the same card artist to do this, though. I think they did. Mermails definitely have a little bit of a weirdness with hands. This one is definitely doing something weird and slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I think
it's
with that
like
part.
she's showing her palm.
I can see it, but it just from the way it just looks a bit weird.
Well, and put your hand in that position. It's a little uncomfortable. It has tension on your muscles if you like bent your arm that way and then flipped your hand up. I think it's supposed to be like mid swim, but it's weird. Yeah.
It's very Marvel comic art.
But I think I like this design and coloration is good. They've added some extra detail here, and the shading as always is really, really brilliant. I love this like
overall the
deep
design
here.
is good. It's just the hand.
Yeah, but several of them have this weird handness. But yeah, I also appreciate that Konami stopped being weird about the belly buttons, which she doesn't even really have. There's not enough detail that's like lightly shaded.
Is this guy meant to be a deep sea fish?
I mean, a coelacanth was a fish so mysterious that we thought it was extinct, and then we discovered some.
Okay, so
It's not
I'm
really
honestly
deep
feeling
sea,
like
though.
the
But
dark-
you said deep sea. They got more deep sea after we showed the flying fish. So
Yeah, also,
I was
coelacanths
wondering if
aren't
being
deep
like,
sea.
because I was wondering if the darker tones were meant to be like they're going aesthetically like deeper colors or like the night fish, I guess, because it's like typically these are all like way darker armored colors.
I mean, I think it's
And
just the
the-
coloration of the fish. Like a coelacanth is kind of a dark color. They still have like the light shading, which but again, if you don't know anything about deep sea diving, light propagates very shittily through water, so they are pretty close to the surface for you to get these god ray effects.
Yeah, like coelacanths aren't like deep sea fish. The reason we couldn't find them is because they're in very remote areas near no civilizations at all.
Yeah, they're like population
They're in
retreated.
like the blue edges.
But Abyss Nere was again printed in Circuit Break, so we're in the height of Link format. And so she is a level 3 Aqua. She has 1200 attack, 2k defense. So we're keeping the theme that Osea had. But hey, you'll notice that this card was printed in the Link era. Because first of all, the first 2 words on this card are Quick Effect. You can discard this card, target a water monster you control. Destroy one other water monster in your hand or field. If you do, the target monster gains attack and defense equal to the destroyed monster's original attack defense till the end of this turn. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. You can use each effective Abyss Nere once per turn. This is a good card. This gives you a honest or, shit, I can't remember his fucking name. The fucking Blackwing. There's 9 million names. Which is the one who's bad?
Oh,
Kalute.
Kalute.
Describe which one. There's like tons of those.
No, the battle effect one, you idiot.
So Omega, there's only one problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a bad card.
because you also got a pulp one.
But it's
Well, no,
destroying your
'cause,
hand or field.
Abyss, this is one of the few decks where you just don't need more attack modulation because your main attacker is already a Chungo Dungus.
I mean, you can, though. It's a quick effect. It's not just so that you can out your opponent's big monsters, though obviously that does help. Because remember,
has never been run.
Remember Megalo? I mean, not true.
Okay, in a tournament setting.
It's always in a tournament setting with you.
I mean, I don't think this is a bad card, and if people weren't running it,
It's not
I
bad.
don't know why they weren't.
Because they weren't running many Mermail cards.
This card doesn't require Mermails at any point. Target a water monster, destroy another water monster. This is just water honest.
No, I lied. Okay, I'm incorrect. One Mermail deck in Belgium in 2018 ran this card.
It's when this card came out, basically, so makes sense. I generally think that during this era, people weren't running this version of the deck. I do think that Nere is an okay card. First of all,
Yeah, it's not bad.
she can be discarded regardless of whether or not she goes to the graveyard, which is great.
Yeah.
Because, as mentioned, one reason why I think Mermails are not more popular is because a lot of macro-type decks are good. You die in the Flunder matchup. Your opponent just plays D-Shifter or Macrocosmos or D-Fissure. You die. Kashira locks your board and banishes all your monsters. You die.
And I do think if there is ever a water archetype that really gets in on destroy effects, I think
Yeah.
this card will become useful in that. It's just unfortunately.
I
There
think
just
the
isn't
idea is
one.
you're supposed to wombo combo this with Linde to make her more relevant because she's only on destruction and sent to graveyard, but not by your opponent's card. So you can blow up Linde's in your hand to get free specials. It's a really good support card. I don't think it does enough for the deck at the time period to be good, but it's a water honest. And then if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to cycle, draw 1, discard 1. That's not really necessary because you can access Moray of Greed, but. Still, this is a you can tell this is a Konami Link era Band-Aid card, and I think it works. It works. Certainly, it does what I think they were going for with Osea better, in that this like triggers your effects better
Oh, it's yeah.
to send cards
I'll
to
say
the
this,
graveyard and
it's
shit.
definitely not the most Band-Aid card, though.
No, but it's pretty. I think it's still pretty decent. And I have to check. Let me check when this was printed in the OCG. So this was in Circuit Break Core. So I'm gonna check when Abyss Alicia, which is their Link monster, was printed. So that was in the Vrains pack in 2017. So Konami didn't bring this to the TCG until Dark Neostorm in 2019. So this may also be why nobody was playing a lot of Mermails, because as usual, everybody knows, and this is part of the reason why I think the Link era was so unpopular. The TCG really, really, really dropped the ball on the Link Vrains pack. They took fucking years for no reason to bring over a lot of those cards. But let me grab the card art for Alicia. Or Alakia? Or Alacia.
I think it's Alacia.
Which basically, by the way, is Abyss Trite, but with legs. I think she's got more of a nose than Abyss Trite does, but that's only because of the shadows.
Yeah, the shadows. The shadows are
saw-
fine.
Oh, good.
No, the shadow just looks a bit weird if you look at it at an angle. It's just like her face looks kind of fucked.
Okay, so it would be Salakia, because it's Latin. Is basically that's basically the Roman name of Amphrite, the wife of Neptune. So it's literally makes sense. It's literally the same person. Just she. I like, by the way, the fandom wiki, the Yugipedia is like Salakia / human. Yeah, thanks guys. She's not a fish lady. I can tell that.
What?
She has
You
the
don't
same.
know that.
She has the same problem that Trite does, where there's a lot of like lens flare backlighting shit on this. Like, I think the trident is supposed to be glowing because, like, look at these harsh shadows on like her belly button area, the side of her face, right? Like, there's a lot of ambient light in this, and it really washes out some parts of her design. I think her eyes are creepier in the foil version, though, because they just glow. This at least is like, okay, there's some multi-part shading and some specular highlighting. But yeah, it's Abyss Trite, but she's got people legs instead of fish legs.
I wonder what the sort of answer that was, but it feels like because she got the trident or something, it let her become a humanoid.
Also, thank you, Marth, for saying Kalut earlier.
Nah, she made a deal with the squid lady.
I mean, probably, because
I think no.
Dallas wasn't here for this bit, but we discussed how it is canonical. It is both in card art and talked about in one of the master guides. Abyss Gaios is the Atlantean dragon Poseidra, but he put on a magic armband and turned into a half-man. So.
Yeah, it makes about sense.
I also noticed she's gotten like she ever goes for the veils and got a cape. Unless I'm like misremembering, she had a cape originally.
No, she didn't have a cape because her armor had like veil things. So she's got like a weird cape thing, but she's still got some of the veil like floof on her leg parts.
She's leaving the castle. She's gonna go adventuring, I guess.
But yeah, what this card would do is she is a Link 2. She is semi-generic. This is real water.deck shit, guys. 2 fish, sea serpent, and or aqua monsters. She is a Link 2 water sea serpent herself. Again, very weird. She's a sea serpent now, even though she looks mostly human. But types for mermails have never made any goddamn sense. She has the bottom arrows. She's a Link 2, obviously, like I said, 1600 attack, so pretty normal stuff. Monsters, this card, points 2, gain 500 attack and defense, and you can use each of the following effects of Abyssakia once per turn. During your... and it is definitely the hard C, because even in Japanese, it's Saraki Abisu. So it's Salakia. Which is similar, by the way, very similar to the Latin name for sharks. That's Salakia, with a CH sound. Anyway, 2 effects, once per turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, add a mermail from your deck to your hand. So just only during your opponent's turn, but you can cycle any fucking mermail for the cost of 1 card. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, send a water monster from your deck to your graveyard, then target a water monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So it's just a foolish cycle. I think this card was made because Konami realized that mermails hadn't been really popular. I mean, obviously, Aneptibus came around, and that meant more leaning on the Atlanteans, but mermails had definitely died out a little bit when Tidal got banned. Obviously, part of that was just the natural cycle of the game, but this is if you're playing pure mermails, I don't know how good this is. In a general water deck, this is a pretty decent link too. Because it just lets you... If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, so that's by battle, by card effect, whatever, you get a free Foolish and you can special something out. It cycles itself, which is pretty decent. The attack modulation, I think, is merely okay. Again, if you really wanted to, it's a lot easier just to play the Abyss Scales. Those aren't awful cards because they are negates and plus 800. It does have a decent cycle effect on your opponent's turn. It's funny, but a little slow. I think overall it's an okay Band-Aid. It probably would have been better if it came out at the same time as Abyss Nere, but still a decent one. Like, you probably still see... I mean, obviously, like, I joked about seeing it in some decks. I know that Nere and Glacia were both, when MBT did open this pack in Master Roulette, were both in there. But that's because you're playing in funny limited formats. But still pretty decent. So I'm going to pull up the card arts real quick for the 3. Because I'm trying to think what even the other, like, Link 2 strategies you'd play. Obviously, there's, you know, Mr. Boy.
Also, it just hit me, but like Felipe has a point. It does feel like she got hired to be a princess is actually a good way to describe her.
I mean, that kind of works.
She got hired by the princess agency.
Yeah. The Marincess are very much light in that vein, and we might get to them sometime. They're an anime archetype, though, mostly. So I'm just going to pull up the 3 scales.
Which means there's a fuck ton of them.
Also true.
Half of them are only half of them are actually playable.
Here's
I'm not
Ketis.
gonna lie, I honestly thought you were about to pull up Mr. Boy.
No, we're not going to pull up
We don't
Star
do.
Boy. He's
Everyone-
not an archetype one.
Everyone's ever
You
played him
do
knows the
probably
words.
play him in this. You might also play the fucking...
I would argue that Miss Starboy is a... I would argue that to the death.
You cut out there, so...
Yeah, I
all
don't know.
heard Was
I would
Mr.
argue
Boy
Miss
is
Star
a-
Boy.
I say
Yeah.
he is a part of an archetype.
Which one?
I don't know what you would call it, but because they've gotten
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 different retreads.
No, I mean,
of,
yes,
like,
those guys are a theme.
Yeah,
They're not
Little
really an
Chimera,
archetype because they're not searchable and you don't play them with
Starboy.
each other. But there is definitely a style that they basically took those early attack modulators, Witch's Apprentice, Mr. Boy, Hoshiningen, which just means Starman, by the way, in a different way, et
Yeah,
cetera,
but
et
they couldn't
cetera.
print that in America because of cut.
And then they just, you know, turn them into the attribute link 2s, which are really good. So these are the 3 Abyss scales. One of these is not like the other in terms of naming. Hold on, let me just shrink that down. So you've got Ketus, which is like Greek for just generically like sea monster. You also these all framed up. Mizuchi is a little cut off. Let me squish it closer.
One looks more bird-like, but that's just me.
So there's Abyss scale of the Ketus. Yes, it is pronounced that way. There's Abyss scale of the Kraken, and then there's Abyss scale of the Mizuchi. The Mizuchi, which is just another word for water. And I don't know why, because it is that way in the original Japanese. Like, is it supposed to be like a water dragon? Maybe? And they probably should have called it like Aisonade or Umibozu or something. There are some famous Japanese sea monsters.
I don't know.
So I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah, I got nothing. It's
No? I mean, it's white and gold, but it's not really a Vylon. It's also got some green in there.
I was about to say these look like discount Saint Seiya almonds.
That I can see.
Yeah. But it's not really geometric enough to be a Vylon.
Geometry.
Right?
I think they're
Advanced
cool
geometry.
armors, but
Yeah,
I don't
they're
really know
neat.
what else to say about it.
No. I
They
just
just
pulled them up
look
because I
like
want to talk about their effects.
generic
They are
armor
pretty
sets,
important
kinda.
because they're Abyss
So-
spell traps that can be searched.
What you could totally
So
do
each
is
of
pull
them
up-
is an equipped spell that you can only equip to a mermail monster. That mermail monster gains 800 attack, and then all of them have an effect when your opponent activates either a spell, trap, or monster effect. you negate that effect and then send this card to the graveyard, which is mandatory, by the way. So, Mizuchi is spell, Kraken is monster, and Ketis is trap effect. So all of these are big attack modulators and negates. They have been playable at certain levels. I think they might be a little slow right now, but obviously off like Megalo and stuff like that. They're searchable. So I think you might still run them like in the sideboard. Obviously, different effects have different meanings. Like right now, Ketis is probably not useful, though I do believe it would protect you from evenly, for instance, because it is mandatory. There's no like, it is a mandatory continuous effect. There's no like trigger. It's just that when your opponent activates an effect, it gets negated. This card gets sent to the graveyard. So it's been part of their control strategies in the past. And again, 800 attack is nothing to sneeze at, but it is hard archetype locked. So I think that depending on your number of names, it's, you know, good in there.
So I just had a thought. Like, I know it's difficult to show off, like, to think about what a spell card or just whatever for a...
Yeah.
Like, the art of a armor equipped should be. But I'm just reminded of, like, metal silver armor or the armor of, was it the Dark Knight?
Oh, actually, by the way, I just
Or
realized,
Dark
sorry to
Blade.
cut you off there, Loth. Go ahead. Talking about the metal silver armors and boys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
if
I know
it-
what you.
No, that was actually, you called me at the end. That was basically it.
Okay.
They look a lot like that.
Yeah.
Like- or like
they
the
do
witch
look
armor,
like the
yeah.
rare gold armor and stuff like that. I think they probably had similar artists. I was just gonna say I realized, and I was thinking about it. You can tell which one's which at a glance. Mizuchi is green, Kraken is yellow, Ketis is purple. So that's traps, monsters, spells. Not the only time Yu-Gi-Oh has done this, but it's not just color schemes. It's actually like a thing. But let's talk about Atlanteans. Yeah, somebody else in chat had the Saint Seiya. So fun fact, Atlanteans, or Sea Emperor, Kai-O. Go back a ways. Because I'm going to show you a motherfucking card from 2008.
No.
That's right, chat.
Oh, boy, here we
Atlanteans are based on an old vanilla.
Ryu Kaishin?
No.
No.
Similar, though,
No.
because that's Kaishin. But this is Atlantean Pikeman.
I mean, don't the Atlanteans know how to fight a Spiral Sea Serpent?
I think they might. Which means also, by the way, that then the Mermails do, because the Mermails are just Atlanteans. Anyway,
The boy.
this is Atlantean Pikeman. In Japanese, it's Kaio no Nagayarihei, so Pikeman of the Sea Emperor. So this guy works for the Sea Emperor, which is Poseidra, which is also just a Viscaios. Anyway, yeah, he's an Atlantean pikeman. I think it makes sense. He's got a pike. I like this pike design. He is a freaky fish guy.
He's a fish guy you'd totally fight in a fantasy campaign.
I'm not a-
I mean, we should all say this. All four of us are here. This is literally a Sahagin.
Oh no, yeah,
Literally.
No. This is
It's a more like it's like a size 1 Sahagin, so like a size 2 Sahagin, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's not quite like
No, this is the
214's
3.5
art style,
Sahagin.
but this is a Hagen. I have killed a shitload of these guys to go fight Leviathan.
Oh, you're going with the Final Fantasy.
Well, I like Final Fantasy
I mean,
Sahagin more 'cause,
the
like,
Final Fantasy
they're
Sahagin
like
are also
actual
very much the
men.
D&D Sahagin, because that's just how Final Fantasy works, but yes. Which can also sometimes be pronounced Sahugin. Or Sahaugen. By the way, I have absolutely no idea where the... because I'm writing for Gensakai, I occasionally try to look up the etymology for certain D&D creatures. Some of them are just dudes in the 70s and 80s slammed syllables together.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a good etymology for Sahagin, but that's what this motherfucker is. He's a Sahagin. The perspective is a little, like I said, it's a little fucked, but it works out. And this was just a random guy in Phantom Darkness. He was just a pack filler. They reprinted him. He was also in the 5D starter deck for absolutely no reason. the 2008 starter deck specifically. They did reprint him for Roar of the Sea Emperor because he counts, but yeah, he's just a weird boy.
Mega.
Yeah.
First question. Would Sahagin be like fish folk beastmen or like Forces of
No,
Darkness?
it's a guild one.
Okay, gotcha.
It's literally the thing. Anyway.
Also, spoiler, you know where the name for Sahagin come from, right?
No. I literally just talked about the etymology, which is I can't find it.
Oh, I can tell you where it comes from. It's a pun. It's literally off of Fatagan.
Oh. Fucking. Well, that's okay. Everybody who wrote D&D in the 70s is dead now.
I'm just
They're
saying,
in the
like,
ground where they belong.
They're freaky fish people that worship eldritch gods. They're not being subtle.
I was wondering if it was like related to the Dagon, Zahugan. It's similar, but
Take on
yeah,
these nuts.
it's probably weird name stuff. The Guild One joke I make is because of Deep Ones, but you know, Gilly. Anyway, the boy, the pikeman. He is a normal monster. He's just a non-effect level 2 sea serpent, 1400 attack, 0 defense. So clearly experimenting with some stuff. But his flavor text reads: "The great ocean lord who reigns over the depths is served by these lancers. Deep sea creatures exist in fear of facing the stream of attacks that their lancers are capable of. No sea creature has ever been afraid of an Atlantean pikeman. He is a level 2 vanilla."
They're afraid of they're afraid of his great Valparaiso in the land and in the sea.
But
Two quick things.
go for it. Yeah.
I appreciate the style of his lance. It's a very nice looking lance and fish design.
Yeah.
And I agree with Carlos because you can see just one of him, but then in the background you've got many.
Yeah, they got the shadows. There's some more. I'm pretty sure this card was just meant to be like a cute thing you could do with Deep Sea Diva. There are better Diva targets, but he is a Diva target. So it's just teaching fish to synchro summon, or sea serpents in this case. But the flavor text and the like fluff of this monster and its name stuck around. So we started doing more Atlanteans, aka of the Sea Emperor, Kaio. So I think, was this technically the first? I mean, most of them came out in a bundle. They were either in Return of the Duelist or reprinted in Sea Emperor like weeks later as filler. But this is Atlantean Attack Squad. His name is really derpy in Japanese. It's Kaio no Totsugeki he. Literally, attack soldier. He is attack man.
It's just a Hagen attack force.
Yeah. It's an Atlantean Attack Squad. But yeah, they're a little derpy. I like, again, you can see more shadows of them in the background. But it's a fish boy.
Hey, Omega.
No, we're not going to cover Phantasm Spiral tonight.
It's
Good.
that time again for Dallas's random fact. Yay.
Oh, boy.
Did you know this is the best Deep Sea Diva target in dueling?
Oh, it's the duel. I was like, okay, it's either going to be a weird tournament thing or it's going to be a Duel Links thing.
God damn you, Duel Links.
God damn you, Dallas Facts.
I also don't know if that's strictly true anymore post the Vrains release, but at least up until that, I'm pretty sure it's the
It's
best.
probably a resistance target.
There might be
They've
some
not put
Marines ones,
Dragoons
but yeah,
or
no.
heavy-
I understand why. Because other than the Duel Links thing, you probably haven't seen this guy very much because he doesn't have the same effect as other Atlanteans. He's a weird boy. I like this art, though. I mean, he's got a sea cutlass and a sea shield. That's cool. His shield kind of looks like a cuttlefish motherfucker. Don't know what the hell he made this cutlass out of because he's underwater, and if it's steel, it's gonna fucking rust. But I like him. He's a good boy.
Omega, it's Icorium.
Fucking damn it.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, he's got
Omega,
a good jib
that
cut.
metal doesn't rust, which is probably why we need it.
He's got a good jib cut.
Sorry about that deep cut.
Sorry, I just was clearing out my notifications in the Crow General, and Loth posted a quote about knees. Somebody's destroying somebody's knees.
Oh, yeah. Look, another race of short stature in FF14. Don't worry about it.
I'll worry about it later. attack squad, though. It's a level 3 Sea Serpent. It's got 1400 attack, 0 defense. So it's got the same stats as Pikeman, but it's level 3 because it has an effect, I guess. And this card gains 800 attack while you control a face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua-type monster other than this card. So, okay, he's 22 if you've got a guy that's cute. I don't think it's really ever been really used that way. It's funny, but again, you don't really need that kind of attack modulation in these decks. But they're trying.
Oh, can I tell you the actual funniest fact about the Deep Sea Diva thing?
Yeah.
So what do you think you do with the Deep Sea Diva and the Atlantean warrior you summon?
I assume you sync 5.
Rank 2 or you go to sync 5?
No, that guy's level 3. You
rank
can't.
4.
It's only 3, so it's sync 5, yeah.
How do you make
sync
a
5
rank
or
4?
You activate a skill and then you make a rank 4.
Oh, right. Yeah, you just cheat.
It's literally there is a skill
you
that
play
is
shark?
literally fish to Xyz summon.
You
I'm
play
not
a
even
shark or your
kidding.
sister?
Yeah, it's shark.
Yeah, it's got to be Sharks because most of his cards are 4s. I know he has some 3s, but like a lot of his big ones are 4s.
He started as 3s, and it became mostly about 4s, and then 5s.
I think it's called like Emissary of the
Well, most of the
There's still
5s are like the
versions.
Chaos versions that are bigger, so you don't make those normally with 5 monsters anyway.
Fair, yeah, right.
I think there are a couple of, as in the monsters, the name Shark cards that let you become 5s or R5s, but mostly you can do rank up shit. Anyway, it's time to talk about one of the boys, the big ones, the ones that matter.
One of the 2 biggies.
Before that, just quickly, are we gonna do what Baron the Crow suggested?
No,
and
I said
also
that earlier.
cover
We're not going to
Frankenstein?
do Spiral because that's more cards.
Yeah.
A lot of cards.
It's not a lot of cards, but that's more cards, and you have to like look at their field spells, their spell traps, like their equips and stuff.
It's a whole thing.
Because
like,
it's only one monster and then just the rest.
Technically there's a couple because there's like the actual like big guys and stuff. There's a couple of Phantasm Spiral creatures, but it's a thing. We'll save it for another time. Who knows? Maybe they'll make that a. Actually, no. There's no way Match would make that a solo mode. That would require too much brain power. Anyway, it's
it would
Dragoons.
require them
It's
doing
Goons.
I feel like they mix it with Atlanteans.
It Goons. Dragoon, by the way, very good translation of this. Their name in Japanese is Kaio no Ryukitai, Dragon Riding Squad of the Sea Emperor. So Dragoons works.
Tell me
that's
if
a cavalry pun.
yeah, I'm gonna ask this. You gotta tell me if like this is fucking weird or not. But this makes me think of like an 80s AD&D cover,
You're weird.
like a module.
You're weird, but you're also not wrong.
Okay.
I mean, definitely this has like an 80s, 90s kind of vibe.
I would give you 90s. This does not look 80s. It's not nearly grungy.
Weird thing, their shoulder pads, it looks like it's just made out of grapes, like in the middle.
Well, they're a little.
It's just
The blow up is a little bad. It's supposed to be Coral like Attack Squad. What really though? These give me vibes of like a 90s toy. Like these are very. I know we make the toyetic comment, but like this is a toy that has a really shitty Saturday morning
I will say
cartoon.
this is the first one. I feel like it's the first toetic bingo card for this stream.
Yes, I
Okay,
mean, yeah.
I need to say this out loud.
Go for
I'm
it.
sorry. My hand right now that I just drew is Ash Nibiru Gamma Gamma Maxi. So I'm
basically,
gonna pass.
your opponent is going.
Oh, you're going first.
Oh yeah, I was going first.
All right, so you
Yep.
better hope your opponent can't.
I
summon
like
anything.
these sword. Well, no, because he
I
just
want them
kills
to
them.
also immediately pass.
He has Maxi and Ash
Right.
and 2
They're
Gamma
fucked. They are fucked.
and Nibiru. They can't do anything. It's just he can't do anything either. He has to pass. He literally can't do anything.
Oh no, they're an Eldritch player. They set 2 pass.
Oh no!
Oh, actually,
No.
no, Dallas. It's worse than that. That means they're playing Lab.
Yeah.
But you gotta pass again, Dallas.
Yeah. What's your top card?
Oh thank God, I drew a punk.
Okay, he can do something.
But you still.
But I like Goons. They have I think a slightly different art style, and I like their look here. They've got going on with their guys. They look a little different than some of the other Atlanteans. They have nice swords and stuff, and I think that this is a good localization. The Dragoons is a good pun because, that's the name of a type of cavalry unit. So literally dragon cavalry. It's very funny. Yes, Carlos has another good one. If He-Man had to fight underwater guys, yes, very much in that.
Oh yeah,
vein.
for sure.
Yeah, no, this is very Mattel. That's like the 180s thing I'll give you. The
Like, it's-
Hanna-Barbera.
Like, I'm trying to remember if They're not Skylanders. That was way later. As a kid, I possessed a weird dragon riding sky toy, like a launcher guy with like little flip blades that like floated to the floor. I think that was like a series.
Things. I'm not sure. That could be a few.
Was
things.
it a HeroClix?
No, because that would be a miniature,
was-
Dallas. No, it was a big guy. It was a guy that was a launcher
Oh,
toy.
I
He
have
fired
no
up in the
idea.
air and he helicoptered down.
I don't remember. I feel like I know what you're talking about, but like, I feel like there were some Hemo toys like that too. but
There's
I can't remember.
been several iterations. Mine was, I think, from the 90s.
It was
He's
probably
fucking
a
gone now.
CG show back in the day.
Yeah, there was a crappy show about it, I'm sure. Anyway, Dragoon's fucking stupid card. Crazy good. It is a Water Sea Serpent level 4. It has 1800 attack and 0 defense. So first of all, it's already got a better stat line than, like, most mermales. All of your level 3 or lower Sea Serpent monsters can attack directly. This almost never comes up, but could. If this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, add a Sea Serpent from your deck to your hand except Dragoons. This doesn't say if it's sent from anywhere in particular. If this card is sent from your graveyard, it's from your deck, he procs. From your field, he procs. From your hand, he procs.
Boo, 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 boo.
So, yeah,
It's for the
Dragoons
draft
is just a
zone, he procs.
crazy fucking... It's a crazy card. If he's detached as Xyz material, he procs. Because that still counts as being sent to the graveyard. It's just not sent from the field. So, yeah, Dragoons is a crazy good card. I'm pretty sure, wasn't this card limited for a while?
Nope.
I could have sworn they did something to the water
I think
engine
Heavy
at some
Infantry
point.
might have been limited.
Maybe it was heavy. Some of these Atlantean cards, I think, saw a list at some point. But,
I know Neptibus saw a list, and one of the Mermails saw a list.
I think it was actually Linde.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was for a while. But yeah, Goon's crazy good card. Like, again, if a water monster sends this card, well, if a water monster sends it for cost, but you know what I mean. If this card is sent to activate a water monster's effect, add a Sea Serpent. Just, it cycles itself, except Dragoons, but there's so much crazy shit you can do with this.
Also, Omega, I just need to do a small update. They're a virtual world player. We just both bricked.
Oh, they just fucking brick. Okay,
Yeah, so
that's
we were
funny.
bricked. Oh.
Yeah, they
completely
flipped
like
up Chishao, and I was like, oh.
I should
Sorry.
buy some tiny some tiny cinder bricks so I can clank them together on Mike.
Cinderbrox.
I mean, you also can just. There's also the Great King Scarlet song.
I'm just picturing Brock from Pokemon.
But briefly, King Scarlet was here.
I mean, but he made that and he put it on a YouTube video, so I can't play that clip.
Fair enough.
I'm thinking
Oh,
of
I need to
of tasting
read
X3 with Max
cards.
Miller's hardtack joke, where he made hardtack and he literally clanks them together, and it sounds like bricks, because hardtack is that hard. But anyway, we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna pull up the art for the next boy, but yeah, Dragoons is actually got an okay stat line. He is a level 4, and also his effect is unbelievably nonsensical in card advantage. He just replaces himself.
Yeah.
But the next one we're going to talk about is also crazy good because of his level and other shenanigans. It's heavy infantry.
Da-ba-da-ba.
Literally, that is a literal translation. It's Kaio no
Hey,
Jusohe.
it's the same assholes.
Yeah, it's
Oh, no,
attack
it
squad, but armorier.
Yeah, I was incorrect. It was Dragoons.
Oh my
Okay, so
god,
Dragoons did
they're
it.
doing the Dark Souls 2 thing of I've got 2 shields.
Oh yeah, right. You weren't here. I make that. Not specifically about Dark Souls, but I did talk about the 2 shield guy with Lung. Abyss Lung has the 2 shields.
Yeah.
There are 2 shields inside of you.
It's
And this is
so
a
fun to
really,
claim.
this is like a very Dark Souls ass shield. It's a freaky fish
I mean,
face.
one of my favorite shields is the one that, if you block with both, it just looks like a door.
If
It's like, surprise!
Dark Souls were a little bit less hard ass and could actually like have like underwater areas without them needing to give you a breath meter that runs out in like 30 minutes so you die. It's like a poison swamp, but
30
worse.
minutes is not that bad, honestly.
Yeah, no, I meant to say 30 seconds.
30 seconds is not actually doable, though.
Like it's like a poison
limit-
swamp, but
that
worse
would limit
because
level design
you'd
too
move
much.
slow. And also it would have other shit to it. But like if they could be a little more freeballing, this would absolutely be like a weird minion in a Soulsborne game underwater.
Is he wearing one of the Abyss Mails?
Not quite. It's not quite the same design, but it is the same color scheme as Ketis, yes.
Just the fact that it's just the fucking face on the shield, though.
Yeah, it's a little.
The
it's silly.
face is not.
Also, that I would like to point out that face has 2 noses.
Yes.
Or maybe they're supposed to be separate nostrils, but like his cheeks bulge out weirdly. It looks like it's got 2 noses. It's funny. Anyway, this is a level 2 sea serpent. It has 0 attack, 1600 defense. So you can summon this off Diva to do funny things. You can make rank 2s or sync 4s. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 level 4 or lower sea serpent type monster. Additionally, your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. When this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, target a face-up card in your opponent's field, destroy it. So, this is the other part of the loop. This card gives you an extra normal, which is always fucking great. And if he's sent, he pops a face-up. So, this is part of the Atlantean engine. You send this guy, he pops. You summon him, you get a normal. It's crazy. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be opposite side nostrils. It's just because it has weird cheek bulgers, it looks like he's got double nose.
Yeah.
I get what the artist... I pick up what the artist was putting down, but they probably should have rethought that one a little.
Is King Biggest Dickus next, I think?
No, because it would be Mark... It's Markman. The other half of the
Right, there's
engine.
a third one.
Yeah. Not as popular, but still saw some use back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, definitely.
Back in my days.
But I think that Markman is not as well known. Heavy and Dragoon was the big ones, but I like these guys.
Particularly post King Biggest Dickus.
Oh, I like these guys just because they're funny. Look at their little harpoon gun trident. They got scopes underwater. They're adorable.
I mean, telescopic is not bad, and like it's a harpoon, so it will go through water.
I'm actually pretty sure telescopic's not good underwater.
No, it doesn't.
And they didn't understand. I feel like people that designed it did not know that.
That's why the submarines have periscope.
Yeah, you gotta break the water level. Yeah, Marksman, Sharpshooter of the Sea Emperor. It has a stat line very similar to other boys we've seen. He's a level 3 Sea Serpent with 14-0. It's got some I think some tangible uses, but it's definitely the more slant. You have to be in a good winning position to use its on-field effect, which is when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, special summon a level 4 or lower Atlantean Sea Serpent type monster from your deck. So it's an interesting extender, but it's in the battle phase when you do battle damage, so it's not very reliable. It has the same when sent to the graveyard for a water monster effect, target a set card your opponent controls and destroy it. So useful, especially against certain decks, but not as flexible, I think, as Dragoons, who just has good attack stats, and Heavy Infantry gives you an extra normal. So Marksman is the, I think, the least good of the 3, but he's still good because that, again, just send from graveyard for a water monster's effect is crazy good. Because there's so many ways you can proc that. It's crackerjack. But now it's time for the big one.
Yes, King Big Dick himself.
What the sorry. As usual, the fandom wiki sucks.
It's not even, yeah, hold on. It's like what Carlos says. It's not even a lens. It's literally just a tiny little, like...
So if you had to add one archetype to a freaky fishman archetype, what would you add?
I mean, they need a boss. They serve the Sea Emperor, so we got to have that guy.
What they decided on was, let's make a twink.
Oh, no. We're not there. That's the wrong one. That guy's a prince, not a king.
Oh, sorry.
Also, he's way later.
Hey, this guy looks like
I think
one?
Neptibus is intentional. Yeah, Poseidon the Atlantean dragon. And then there's a little Poseidon.
Oh, I assumed you already went over it.
No, that didn't come up because he's an Atlantean. We mentioned how Abyss Gaios is him, but and you can see that comparison. He's got the trident for his tail, and it's the same like lower body. But yeah, this is the big guy, the king himself, Poseidon the Atlantean dragon. aka Poseidra, the Sea Emperor Dragon. Kaoryu Poseidora. I mean, there's a reason why they made a little Poseidra. I mean, card art-wise, this guy's all right. He's a sea dragon. I think it's a little weird how his feet are cut off, but yeah. This print is also a little sketch, but it works.
It looks like a fusion of Daedalus and Ryu Kaishin.
I think it is an all right sea dragon. There's a lot of little details, but he's big, so it's spread out fairly. I think it's all right. I don't think it's necessarily, super good, super bad. It's sea dragon.
His back armor almost looks like a shell at first.
Yeah, he's wearing armor plates. But so this guy's a level 7 sea serpent, 2,800 attack, 1,600 defense. So you can kind of see the overlap they were thinking of. But his effect is tribute 3 level 3 or lower water monsters, especially some of this card from your hand or graveyard. If you do, return all spell traps to the field in the hand. And if 3 or more cards are returned to the hand, monsters your opponent controls lose 300 attack for each. So this is clearly supposed to be another big blowout asshole card. You tribute 3 waters, you summon him back, he bounces all your opponent's spell traps. Or he bounces all spell traps, actually, but if 3 or more are returned, your opponent's monsters lose attack. It's okay. I know that there were, because again, I saw this on History of Jank, I know that there were brews with Poseidra that tried to pull this off. Obviously, because of the fact that I call that Simo's History of Jank series, you can tell they were not as successful as other Atlantean brews.
I mean, I think there was a deck that was very tournament successful that ran Poseidra, but it wasn't a it was it was a pre-Mermail thing. It was like oh god, what's that fucking thing called? It was it's that level 5 dude that equips himself.
Oh, Sea Lancer?
Yeah, it was one of the Sea Lancer decks.
Okay, makes sense. And by the way, I should throw this out there. While the pure Atlantean deck didn't catch on, I don't think. I should double check for sure, but I don't know if they caught on until the Mermail stuff also came out, because that also gives you like a bajillion ways to pitch cards. But the Sea Emperor structure deck came out a couple of months in the TCG before the Atlanteans, before the Mermails did. So I will search Atlantean decks. No, oops. Okay, that's really weird. I think that Top Decks is glitched, but I do think it means that Atlanteans were not, because there's only one deck marked as Atlanteans.
That's not correct.
No, especially because I know that there were a lot of Atlantean Mermail decks at the very least, which should probably be counted as both.
And
so that's
most
got to
of
be
the
like
Atlantean Mermail decks are labeled Atlantean.
So that must mean they've got like a coding issue. Loth, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with Carlos in chat, and also go a bit further. I'm not a fan of this guy's schnoz.
Oh yeah, he's got like a weird crest thing.
Yeah, but the crest makes it look like his nose is much bigger than just the rest of his muzzle, and it's like it just goes from his eyes kind of curved down.
Yeah, he's got a horn.
Way up, and it just doesn't look good.
It's not the best look. But so Poseidra does stuff, and there were brews that used him. They were not as successful as other shells. And I think like there might have been some variants, like I said, that worked with the baby Poseidra. But there's definitely some wiggly room. So let's go talk about baby Poseidra. This card came out in Tachyon Galaxy. Fighting the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikia formatting. Okay.
Yes, I was correct. The Slushy Lancer deck.
Yeah, Slushy.
Is the only
That
one
was the build that MBT was showing off.
Oh.
But that was very poopy. Yeah, legendary Atlantean Tridon. It's Widow Poseidra.
Big
This is
baby.
a card?
Yes. They
Wait,
made a
is
baby.
that part of the art, that red circle there, or did like his?
No, I think that's a glitch from the up-res. Because it's not in the actual cards game. But yeah, this was this guy.
He's got old man face on tiny body.
Anyway, yeah, this was
Yeah.
just they made a little Poseidra to get to big Poseidra. He looks like a little Poseidra. His horn makes a little more sense, but
Wait, this can't be real.
what?
Sorry. Is this from a fake? I'm not gonna get Australia again.
I was about to say, is this from a fake Australian?
What is
tournament?
Dragon's Den tournament?
That was I think that was a third-party organizer.
Okay, then a deck called the Poseidon's Rage, which ran a cop. What the fuck is this deck?
How was the list? I'm curious now.
One Blizzard Falcon, one Blizzard Warrior, one Crystal Seer, one Green Turtle Summoner, Mobius the Frost Monarch, Mecha Sea Dragon Plesion, Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Dedalius, Rage Do the D. What is this deck?
Wasn't... I feel like Dragon's Den... that name sounds familiar. I'm wondering, was that like a... Did they run their own list? Like, was that their
It
thing?
wasn't a Trinity thing because it has double Unshaven Angler in it.
I remember there was somebody who had like like, you know, they had their own custom list.
Yeah, look, this list doesn't count. I don't care what it says.
No, oh no, that's got to be from like a weird side thing. Anyway, Tridon's effect, we'll go through it really quick. It's very basic. He's a Water Sea Serpent level 3, so he counts for the thing. He is 1600 attack, 800 defense, so okay for a level 3. But you can tribute this card and one Sea Serpent type monster, special summon a Poseidra from your hand or deck, then all monsters your opponent controls currently lose 300. So it's just summoning Poseidra was really hard to do without like the weird slushy combo, so they just made a baby so that you can do it anyway, but he still requires 2 monsters, so he fucking sucks, and I don't think anybody really played him a lot. But now we have kind of the last... By the way, this is the last Atlantean card that came out. They have not bothered to try and support Atlanteans since our next boy.
No, because they know why. They know what they did.
Well, yeah, and like we said, we're pretty sure this kid saw some time on a list.
And if he didn't, he caused others to see time on a list.
Yeah. So,
I always said something stupid when you were talking about the Yugi wiki. I was like, oh, so Wikipedia is still down, and I looked at the description like, yeah.
yes, no, literally, it is.
Yeah, no, I'm just stupid. I'm dumb.
So, this is Neptibus, the Atlantean prince. In general, I think the vibes we should get from this is he's got the trident from Abyss Trite and Abyss Dine. His armor design kind of reminds me of, like, Poseidra's horns and stuff. So I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like Gaius and Trite's son. That's why he's the prince. Because his armor is very mermail armor-esque. And obviously he has Abyss in his name, which is the name format for all of the mermails. And you might be like, wait, but don't the mermails have the Abyss the other way around? No, not in the OCG. In the OCG, their names are the other way. So it would be like Dynamis, you know, Gaius Abyss, stuff like that. So his name in Japanese, Kaioji Neptabisu, that fits the format. So yeah, Neptibus is, I think, meant to be a mermail without being called a mermail, in addition to being an Atlantean, because he's a Kaio. So there's synergy there. It works very well. Anything to say about this kid, other than the fact that, Jesus Christ, I want to make the DBZEA joke. How many push-ups did he do? How many sit-ups? What kind of juice did he drink?
My joke was like, damn, I think Cromwell designed drew this person. You wouldn't probably get that.
Correct. big crickets. But yeah, Dallas is busy
He's
dealing with
he's not quite Life Elvian.
No. He has
still
anatomy.
looks like a human being.
He's just buff.
He is
Or
unreasonably
he's
buff.
chiseled. He's very chiseled.
He just looks like a wrestler.
I like
People
kind
are
of the
saying-
splash effect on the hair. I see what they're doing with the background, with like the whirlpool and the light and stuff. We could have probably done a cooler background, but we tried.
Like he's not even. I don't know if he could be a twink. I think he's just like.
No, he's a twunk.
I mean, I don't. So Hey, guess what? Straight here. Not an expert in the terminology.
Pretty man.
But I have heard people discussing, people who would be more in the know than I am. I have heard people discussing Cloud Strife, especially from the remake in there, and still calling him a twink, even though Cloud has pretty buff arms. You can't tell his legs because his pants are stupid huge. But also, Cloud is canonically enough of a soft boy to cross-dress as a woman. So
Yeah,
Pull it off of
it's a more.
Dallas is breaking up again.
Like, sorry, God damn it! It's more of a attitude thing than it is a like body
Yeah.
type thing.
And he has a very soft face. And honestly, like,
that's
his
the other thing.
body shape is not that different than, again, I presume his mother, because she's named after the Queen of the Ocean, which would be Trite or a Bislakia. Anyway, Neptibus is a level 1 sea serpent water monster, 800 attack, 0 defense. Hey, he's level 1. That means he's a 1-for-1 target. You can send an Atlantean monster from your deck to your graveyard, except Neptibus. Add an Atlantean card from your deck to your hand, except Neptibus. So, first of all, he just activates all your Atlantean effects. Cool, great, I love it. Second,
Yes.
if this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, target an Atlantean monster in your graveyard, except Neptibus. Summon it. You only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, this guy he becomes a good normal summon.
Yeah. You're talking about Link Band-Aid cards. Holy shit.
So, technically, this was not, I don't think, let's see, this is Breaker's of
No,
Shadow.
it's Link Era. It's Link Era.
No,
Isn't it?
it's Breaker's Shadow.
Right. Okay. Breakers of Shadow is like
We're still a couple from. No, we're actually that's the height of the Pandera. And because of it, Mermail came back, or Mermail Atlantean deck specifically came back. But obviously, like I said,
Oh yeah.
both of them work together, because if you send it with a water monster effect, such as the many Mermails which discard cards to activate their effect, he gets you to extend into another Atlantean, which you're presumably sending to activate their effects. Also, you can just normal summon him to send an Atlantean to do their effects. If nothing else, if you send a Goons, that means you search 2. So, it's pretty baller. Again, it's a level 1, so it's a 1-for-1 target. You know, there's all kinds of crazy shit you can do. He is a sea serpent who's low level, so he works with Diva, like, crazy flexibility. And propelled this deck back to being meta. Or these collective decks, these water dot decks.
To the point of where this deck has taken something as recently as.
Yeah, no.
For a deck whose heyday is 2013 is not.
Yeah. I can see why Konami decided to make this a solo mode. This is a fairly robust deck. There's only a few Atlanteans, and like Dallas said, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why they haven't printed more Atlanteans, because, first of all, what other effects do you have other than giving them even stupider shit? Like, you can pop face-ups and pop sets and search any Atlantean card. What do? Give them a fucking spin back? That would probably be broken. You know? Like, there's... The only thing you can do is make them better, and they're already good.
There's no point.
Yeah, so there's no point to that. Actual Mermails could probably use a little bit of something, but they work so well with the Atlanteans anyway that
They don't really need that.
no, I think the thing that they need is maybe they need more archetypal extra deck monsters that do more stuff for their deck, but it's also not necessary. If anything, they need responses to your opponent just de-shiftering you and you dying. Like, their main thing is that they don't have a lot of protection. They're weak to overextension, and they're weak to certain hard
Subjects.
counter strategies. Banishing
Yeah,
really kills them.
very, very weak deck to side decking. Similar
Yes.
to Sprite, actually.
So they could probably use something flexible to do on the bounce back, but they don't like again, like Dallas said, they're a meta deck as late as 2020, and I would not be surprised, like I said, if you still don't see some of these guys rattling around. Every time any kind of water card comes out.
Konami, or to be fair, Omega, and I feel like this is a layup transit. That hasn't stopped Konami from giving decks that have been meta relevant as late as 2020 support.
True, very true. So, yeah, what do you remember what Dune? Is it Dueling Nexus is the name of the set?
I think so.
Yeah. It's a set that has Duelist in its name, and it's the first of the 25th anniversary sets. It is one of the most crazy ass fucking sets ever.
Oh god, yes. It's been...
every time they do a reveal, even if it's the ones that are for pointless archetypes, you're still like, well, this is good. But yeah, so I'll do this in reverse order. Ursarctic and Drytron. Yeah, let me pop this out to check.
Yeah, let's do this one first as a funny haha meme.
Let me pop this out. Yeah,
I think one card is fine, and the other one is like, I get what they're going for, but it's not.
I mean, they're not really fine, but I don't think you actually played against anybody who played Drytron.
Yeah, they're not fine.
Okay.
I meant of the two cards.
No, I know what you mean, but you're wrong.
I think they're both. Basically, somebody at Konami really likes Ursarctics and Drytrons, and we need to find that person and ship them to Antarctica.
Beat them to death with a shovel.
We need to send them to the Arctic.
Because it doesn't mean they're better.
I like the name. It's stupid. I love it.
Yes. No. This actively helps Drytron.
So, yeah, the Beartron Alpha definitely works. So, this is Tenkoku Kishi Beartron no Alpha. Celestial Polar Illuminite Beartron Alpha, a.k.a. Ultimate Knight Alpha Ursatron. We don't know what the name is exactly, but they're going to find it. It's a level 7 water machine monster. It's got 2,000 attack, 700 defense. This card is always an Ursarctic and always a Drytron, so it counts as a Drytron card. It can't be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by a card effect, so that's the Drytron stuff. You can only use this effect once per turn. If you control an Ursarctic or Drytron monster other than Ursatron, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, add an Ursarctic or Drytron spell trap from your hand. Hey, you know what cards are really good? Drytron spell traps.
Yeah,
they're good.
You know what searches Drytron cards?
Every Drytron card?
Yes. And also, Mobeta Fat Meal.
Yeah.
Most exclusive.
And they're full of special summons and shit. I don't think they necessarily need this kind of like weird extender, but it's another free. It's another free special summon.
This is definitely the worst of the two cards.
And an automatic search. So the next card is Berakti Polar Star. Ursarctic Polar Star. A water machine synchro level 1. It has the reverse stats, so it's 700 attack, 2k defense. Cannot be synchro summoned. Must be special summoned for action of sending 2 monsters with a level difference of 1 to the graveyard. 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner. I believe Polarcti, the first version of this card, has that same text, but it might specifically call it has to be a 7 and an 8. This is at least technically generic. This is like a dual dragon or a what's his face, Big Vulcan type thing.
And the Drytron doesn't even have to splash for this.
No, technically not.
No, because Herald thingy.
Yeah, Heralds are tuners. Herald engine.
And they're level 2, and Drytrons are level 1.
So yeah.
But you can't use the other effect, but I guess you use it just as a
I mean, yeah,
material.
you probably wouldn't play this in a pure Drytron build, but if you were trying to use your Ursarctic shit for more card advantage, you could play this.
Also, you can just play this in Serpentron and you make skill drain.
Well, yeah, but remember, you have to tribute a level 8 Ursarctic monster from your hand or field and this card. Special summon an Ursarctic Synchro from your action deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And it gains this effect. Your opponent can activate the effect of monster special summon from the extra deck that have a level.
How I'm saying this is you feed it a brick and you summon the other floodgate card. You just make your skill drain.
Counterpoint. There's a level 7 Ursarctic. There's also a Drytron that you can search with a Drytron.
That's why this Dallas says level 8.
With a gun.
It says
no,
level...
Is it level 7 or 8?
No, level 8 Ursarctic monster from your hand or field. I don't
Oh,
think
it's
you're gonna
just
see
worded
this
badly.
in a
And this card. Okay. I see,
In-
yeah.
in a lot of Drytron brews, but you probably could make it work if you really wanted to. Even so,
Oh.
if you're playing Purus
Alright.
Arctic, this just cheats out all your monsters, and Serpentrion, which is a level 7, already negates all your fucking extra deck. So it's just fucking skill drains.
Yeah, I never read it correctly. Where it's like it gave the thing you do summon with, you cheat with this, the effect. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it gives Serpentrion.
It's a
plus
period
effect.
effect. Also, hold on, I just realized I'm doing my window capture shit wrong.
Hot take, maybe. It still won't make our Arctic relevant.
Yeah, because those are still bricks.
It's still an awful deck.
Hold on, I just realized I'm doing my window capture wrong, so let me fix that real quick.
Oh no!
What?
Just what call is it? Can the next counts as 2 archetypes be a Red Eyes and Dark Magician one?
I mean, Dark
I'm not sure
Dragoon
if you mean
kind of
we should-
does. I mean, there's not actually a Dark Magician archetype. There are a couple cards that reference Dark Magician cards, I guess, but like, that's just
It's
Dark
almost like a
Magician,
Dark
Dark Magician
Magician.
Girl, and cards that pretend to be Dark Magician.
Radiant.
Or the Dark Magicians, or, stuff like that, like, and some fusion
No,
monsters.
I'll make it be fair. Dark Magician of Chaos is a separate.
It's true. They did make a Dark Magician of Chaos. That's right. They fixed
Wasn't
that
it
later.
Master of Chaos?
No, that's a card also. But
No.
a lot of
Okay.
Dark
No, but
Magician
he-
adjacent cards just say
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
they are Dark Magician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DMOC is a separate entity.
Yes.
Chris, if you're on the Discord, just link the thing about the new Unchained cards. Oh, right there. All right.
Yeah, it's they updated. Here it is.
Huh.
Okay,
For a
so
second,
let's
I
see.
thought that was a picture of Mordred on the
No.
side.
Oh yeah.
So,
I need to see
the
it come to replay
TCG
this.
naming scheme means proper nouns are likely going to be removed. We'll get something like Crimson Unchained Soul or Azure to avoid. Yeah, because they call it
that's new.
Yeah, it's brand new. So you've got Unchained Soul Shavara, which will probably be red. Fire Fiend, level 6. During your main phase, quick effect, target a fiend or set card you control. Sorry, not just monster. Destroy, special summon. Can't special summon except fiend. This card sits in the graveyard. Add an Unchained Spell Trap.
That's not.
Wow.
You probably play
that's
it, isn't?
ridiculous.
No, it's pretty good.
Oh, actually, I didn't process that. Let's see.
Quick effect.
I'm just
Oh yeah.
During
yeah,
the
yeah.
main phase, target a fiend or
Quick
set
effect,
card you control to
do the
destroy.
Unchained thing.
To special summon, which is
I
good
guess you
because
probably
that
have it.
procs all of them. And then if this card goes to the graveyard, hey, Unchained or a Link deck. Also, they destroy themselves. That also counts, but they're a Link deck as well. Set an Unchained directly from your deck. You'll notice, by the way, a lot of cards say set or activate directly from deck. That's because that stops Ash Blossom. Ash can't Ash cards that go to your spell trap zone.
I
I believe
think
it's
this is at
only
least
add to hand, send to graveyard, or special summon from deck.
So could I say like at least Shavara is maybe like a hard minimum 2 of in the deck?
I mean, it's
I
probably a
don't
3
know
of.
what the ratios
I don't.
are,
Yeah, I don't. I
because-
mean, actually, I don't know what Unchained's ratios are like, but it's probably
Fair.
good.
So
Um,
probably a 2.
and
but,
also, it's probably decent in non-Unchained because it lets you set from your deck, so you can probably use it
Yeah.
in Unchained Labyrinth and Unchained Twin brews as well. Because it's just pop a fiend or a set card you control.
Same thing with like Shiyama.
Shyama is water. It's 2k15, same stats.
Ooh, non-targeting destruction.
Yeah, target a card you control and destroy it, and then destroy a spell trap on the field. If this card's in your graveyard, target a fiend monster set you control, destroy it, then you do special summon, then place it bottom of the deck. So you can destroy a spell trap without targeting, but it's a spell trap, so it doesn't really matter that much. Still good to get spell trap pops. There
Yeah,
are a
and
couple
also-
of protection methods, but it's not that important.
Well, also just more destruction. Like this is definitely the worst of.
Yeah,
But
I think its
more
graveyard effect is
destruction
better.
is good.
because
Yeah,
you
its
get
graveyard
to
effect is
special it
excellent.
back. And keep in mind, it puts itself back to the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field, so it doesn't banish itself. It cycles back. And then
And
they've
you
got a
can
new Link
link
2,
off it.
King
Yeah.
Yama.
Unchained Soul got stronger, I guess, or one of the twins came
Right.
stronger.
I mean, I haven't actually looked at. I didn't directly realize the Unchained Souls are a direct reference to Hindu destroyers. So there's probably like a
Oh,
literal
yeah.
mythological figure they are.
Yama,
If we ever
yeah.
do Unchained, we'll probably talk about that then. Link to Fiends. So that at least locks it mostly to
Okay.
either Unchained or Unchained Labs. But if it's special, add an Unchained monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, or if a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, when it's destroyed, banish special summoning fiends from your hand or graveyard, then destroy one card you control.
That's a good extender.
Yeah,
It's
a great extender.
Card.
it's a pretty good card.
The add one enchained monster. Stupid. Because of
Ironically,
that one
it
card,
also-
I can't remember, doggy.
It works in actually other brews well because that second effect you can just keep going.
Help
with
me
it,
out
yeah.
here. Yeah, it's like Unchained Dog. It's the level 8 one that you never want to draw into on your first turn. But once you have
Is that
one second turn,
Aruha? I think that
I
might
think
be
it might be
Aruha.
Aruha.
I know a little about
I'm
Unchained,
poisoned-
but I
I'm
mostly know about the.
poisoned by watching Coder, so know it as dog.
I mostly know about Unchained for their extra deck monsters because I don't play the variants of Live Tone or Lab that main deck. I just play like Unchained Beast because he's a fiend link that pops boards. But still pretty solid.
Try my Unchained DDD deck again.
So let's see. That's the Ursarctic one. Some TCG stuff. Some Rush Duel stuff. Lots of Rush Duel stuff. I don't know if we want to talk about Numerelia because I don't think we've mentioned their
It's just two other
original deck,
cards.
but it's a cute archetype that they're doing fun stuff with.
Oh, I just noticed she's sleeping inside its head.
Yeah, and she goes to bed on your extra deck. It's an adorable concept. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that.
This
Here's
deck doesn't
the
really
Evils.
help it too
The
much.
extra deck is just all green.
So you've got Fortis.
Evil.
Dallas, have you read the new Evils, by the way?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so
Evil.
Evil Tile
Above all,
Force.
Unchained Soul is the one.
So it's 903. It's a level 2 fire reptile. You only use the first effects, first and second once per turn. If it's normal or special, it's special summon an Evil face down from your hand or graveyard. So set up Westlow shit. During your main phase, set an Evo Force or Evo Instant from your deck. If a monster you control be destroyed by battle card effect, tribute a reptile or dinosaur instead.
One thing, did most of them ever have a thing where it lets you just actually get the rank up card?
What?
Did most Evo tiles ever let you get Evo Force or Evo Instant as in their rank? They're basically their in-archetype rank ups.
I mean, probably, but they probably add them. And remember, that gets ashed.
Yeah, they don't let you set them.
This, again, Konami has... on the one hand, I
Given up
appreciate
trying to
this because it sucks when your deck loses to exactly Ash Blossom. But also, it means that there's a lot less counterplay to some of this shenanigans. But yeah, this sets directly to your field, which I don't think you could do before. And then our next one is Evolzar Rios, Dinosaur level 4, 1600 attack, 400 defense. If this card is normal special, it's set Evolutionary Bridge or Singularity from your deck. If you control this card that was special summoned by a Fire Monster effect or normaled, you can send a Fire, Reptile, or Dinosaur from your deck to your graveyard, then make the type and level of 2 face-up monsters on the field become the Scent monsters.
It's such a dumb card.
Yeah.
I love it.
You get to dump a Fire, Reptile, or Dinosaur and then switch your typings
And level fix.
and your level fix.
And type
And then
fix,
we've got
too.
your new boy, Evolzar Raz.
Rush.
It's an Evolzar, so it's a dragon, rank 6, 2500 attack, 1500 defense. Your opponent can target this card with material with monster effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect attach 2, negate target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. So it's that one red dragon Archfiend monster. If the materials attached to this card are reptiles or dinosaurs, you can activate this effect by detaching 1 instead of 2. So first of all, MBT said this, but I think this is probably now the best generic rank 6 in the game.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, Omega, they learned their the last Evil Zars. They didn't make it generic dinosaur. They
Yeah.
made it generic everyone support.
Yes. So first of all, this is now the best rank 6 generic in the game. It beats Photon's Strike Bouncer, I think.
I'll fight you on that.
Which one do you think is the best 6?
Beatrice.
Yeah, it's true. But
Other
Beatrice
than
is
Beatrice, though, yes.
not long for this world.
No, that is very true.
Like
well, other
I
than
think she's
Beatrice,
at
yeah,
1
that
in
is
both
true.
games now.
So
Yeah.
how quick do you think this card will get limited? Because I don't think it's gonna
Well,
get banned.
I
think
I
it's
mean, it
limited
won't.
one.
It won't though, because like anything
That
that's not a
DDD monster, like Hiking Caesar, is a very good rank 6, not generic.
So I don't think this card will be limited because it's only negate 1, and you have to detach both effects, which removes its protection. It's also got pretty weak stats for a rank 6, honestly, like 25.
Fair.
That loses to rank 4s. The question will be, like, can you turbo this out with Transcendrake? Yes, by the way. And then get 2 negates. But in that case, what will probably happen is the Transcendrake engines will be negated. Limited or banned. This guy is just another extra deck tool monster. You're only playing 1 of him anyway, probably. Maybe 2? Because 6s are kind of skinny, but, like, it's just good. It's just good shit. And it's definitely much more applicable than the Transcendrake rank 6.
Oh yeah, it does help that the Transcendrake rank 6 is doo-doo.
Oh, you get double piercing. Neato. I could have sworn there was another... Or is the Infernal... Oh, shit. I accidentally went back in time. Fucking layouts. Fucking layouts. Fucking chat. I mean, don't harass anybody, but if you find anybody who works at the organization, if you could tell them to put Rush Duel in a separate fucking tab. There it is.
I think I actually know, like, this website layout, but other things, as far as I know.
So, and that's the tournament pack. That's the reprints. Where the fuck are those guys? There they are. Here they are. Infernobles. So, this shit also cracked.
Oh god, this is gonna be brutal.
So,
Okay.
Infernoble Knight. What you you got?
No, I'm just gonna say while you guys are dealing with that, because I don't care about Infernobles, I'm just gonna head off.
I might do the same, because I've read these cards like 3 times.
Okay, fine. I see.
I'll be watching the stream, though. I'm not closing it.
I'll be here. Unlike the rest of y'all pussies.
It's fine, I just gotta...
I just
hold on.
stare daggers at Crow General, waiting for when they appear,
Hold on.
so I can judge you. Anyway, Infernal Knights, Ricciardetto, aka Richard.
Bye.
Yes.
Oh, now he's a pussy, and he's not a fish fucker. But just remember, chat, on stream, type Loth is a fish fucker. If YouTube will let that go through, I don't know, actually.
I think that might lead to issues.
That might be a problem with...
I don't know if that works. Because some of them aren't paladins, so I don't know if we have all 12, but also I don't know if all 12 of them are named all the time. We have definitely most of the cool ones.
We have most of the notable ones. If we're missing anyone, it's like Yakumo the Lesser or something.
It's the more obscure ones, because we got the
Bradamante
bishop.
one?
Yeah, there's a Bradamante card.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not very good, but it exists.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's mentioned. Because, like I said, they've put Richard in here, who is Renaud and Bradamante's brother.
Is there Rogerio in one of these?
I don't know if they got a Rogerio, but he would not technically
Because I feel
be an
like they
Infernal
could do
Knight.
like a Bradamante Rogerio like Link or Synchro, weirdly enough.
Anyway, Ricciardetto. Warrior Tuner, level 1, 500 attack, 0 defense. You can use the first and second effect once per turn. Only use 1 effect per turn as well. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a level 4 or lower fire warrior monster from your hand as a tuner, so just turn monsters into tuners. If this card is normal or special, target a fire warrior, level 4 or lower, in your graveyard, except Ricciardetto. Summon it. Can't special summon except for warrior monsters.
That doesn't mean much
which
if
is
you're playing
Yeah, I'm
Infernals.
about to say, that literally does nothing. Oh no, you can't make access code, I guess.
That's fine, you're just gonna make Roland.
There's a lot of other things you can do. I believe Barone is a warrior? Because she is a noble, technically.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure she's doable. I think she was meant to be stealth support for this archetype. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Because some of those cards were noble.
Every archetype.
Anyway, it's Bishop Turpin, Infernal Noble Knight Turpin, Fire Warrior, 1400 attack, 1700 defense, not these matter. If you control a monster equipped with an equip spell, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, but if it's special summon from your graveyard, you banish it. If this card's in your graveyard, target a warrior, equip it. If this card is used as synchro material, you can treat it as a tuner. So it's Turpin, the Bishop. And then we've got Angelica, Princess of Noble Arms,
What's the note about
a
this
5 synchro. These notes are sassy.
I mean, it works.
I mean, she does disappear, but it's their other points are sassy. Anyway, she's a level 5, 1200, 24, one tuner, one non-tuner, so she's completely generic 5s. If this card is special summoned, add a card that mentions Charles or an Oliphant to your hand or deck. When a card or effect is activated that targets this card, or when this card is targeted for an attack, quick effect, send a Fire Warrior from your deck If you banish this card until your end phase and special summon Roland. So
What is
she
the Horn?
tags out.
What is the Horn of Oliphant card?
I mean, it's a. I'm pretty
It's
sure it's a
not
trap
really
card, but it's a
relevant.
card that works. But it's a card that
Yeah, it's
mentions it, so I think that's Roland. A Roland card, because summon a Roland monster from your extra deck or deck.
Gotcha.
And then other spell trap supports that do Charles. And then they printed Charlemagne, Charles Taite, Emperor Charles, Charlemagne, Charles the Great. It's very funny. This is, by the way, I love this card design, Konami. Please do more cards
Oh,
like this,
I do
because
as
this is
well.
fucking great. I love this.
It's
So
just,
chat,
it's a conversion of a card. It's great.
chat. This is a Link 1 3K with a downward pointing arrow. It's a Fire Warrior. Its materials are exactly a level 9 Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles equipped with an equip card. So it is a Link 1, but it is a very specific Link 1. If this card is
Honestly-
Link summoned, target a Charles in your graveyard. This card becomes that card's name and replace this effect with that monster's effect. Then equip it
I
as
feel
a
like
equip
they
spell.
really should have made cards that have like weird or very specific conditions like this, because I feel like that
I mean-
would balance the game a bit more over like
Axe,
years.
they did. The problem is those cards were made very early and they sucked. That's shit like Dark
Aw.
Sage, the original Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, shit like that. Cards that
Okay,
they technically
Fair.
have done those kinds of evolving cards. They just were very bad, so it's
I
taken
think a
Konami
lot
a long
more-
time to wrap back around to this.
I guess a lot more of I guess very strong Link monsters should have conditions like this, because I think that would make let them
I
be
mean,
more.
I'm
But yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. Here's my hot take of the day. I could be wrong. I could point, but I think Infernobles are going to challenge Transcendrake for like a meta position, because
Yeah. Probably.
Infernoble are a high rogue tier deck.
They are a deck
They're
that
not like
was
a-
that was meta. Then their weird old card got banned. It was.
I don't think they
Smoke
need that
Grenade
anymore
Leaps.
now. I think these cover that.
But
I mean, they
they're
don't, 'cause they don't do
literally
the same
on
thing, but-
they've been on the tip of relevance for so
Yeah.
many meta games.
I will
they-
say one thing. Do you
they
think
were-
how much do you think this and Transcendrake will crush Kastira?
I mean, they won't. They won't actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't think
I mean,
anything specifically
Kastira's
that those guys have will do it. It's just what's going to crush Kashtira is called they're going to limit like Unicorn and all the guys.
Yeah, I also don't think Christier is that dominant at all.
It's not a tier 0 for sure.
No, it's just a top card. Yeah.
It is the best
I don't
deck
even
right
think
now.
it's a top. I don't know if that's
Dallas
true
stats. You're wrong.
It literally won 2 ISs.
Yeah, it's already winning tournaments and it's still got like 30% representation in the OCG. It loses
yet.
to
I
a
just
lot
mean
of
in the TCG. In the OCG, I agree. In the TCG, I just don't.
in the OCG. Dallas, they have limited cards. Their cards are hit already. There's no hits in the TCG, and they've got all their good shit now. Kashtira
Yeah,
is
but the
pretty good. Is it literally the best deck ever? There's still some debate about that. It is a deck that you can play that is really good and is getting a lot of representation in tournaments, and it loses to certain outs. The problem is that then you have to play those outs in your deck. Like, okay, this deck fucking dies to Lava Golem. Cool. That means you have to play Lava Golem. But
yeah, no, I understand.
I also think that generally the way Kashtira plays is fucking insufferable, so you're probably
Oh,
going to
no,
see them get fucking
It
banned
is,
in the TCG.
In my opinion, it is the worst designed deck of the 10 years.
Probably.
I
Honestly-
count Mystic Mine a deck, but I don't count that as a deck.
No,
That is an
no.
experiment
So here's
produced
the
by
weird thing.
Jeffrey Loeb.
I keep having this weird trend of decks I want to try out end up being too expensive to try, and it's like I originally won Kashira before it actually
You're
like
part
had
of the problem.
Wrong.
let me finish.
Go
Before it ever got finished and before I actually learned about its price tag and then before it actually been top ICSs, I wanted to try Kastira because I actually liked the aesthetic and what they were going for. Until or at least I wanted to try it. And then I think I forgot what it was, but it was like I think now I want to get Transcendrake, and I don't know if that's a bad thing. It's like kind of
I mean,
You're just a meta
Yeah.
sheep.
I just like dinos. I like big dinos.
That's true.
It's
You have
the
tried to
meta
run
sheet,
dinosaur
it's okay.
decks, but also yes, I think Axe has a fear of playing decks that are not consistent and don't bring wins consistently. He doesn't like high roll decks and shit. I'm sure you weren't interested in like tier limits. back in the day.
I mean, I'd be able to
So
give here if it
somebody
wasn't that,
tell
like,
it
was
if
just
somebody
kind of
tells you
oppressive.
this deck is good and you're like, oh, that's an interesting aesthetic, you want to play it because you're like, oh, I want to play a good deck. I want to play a meta deck.
I want to not feel like nothing I can do means anything.
So I want to say this. You have tried to spin like, oh, I thought Kashira was cool before I realized it locks down everything. That's always all it did. Like, Kashira Era, whatever that card was called, was like one of the second wave of cards after they revealed like two of them. So, like, it has been known that that is going to be a lockout deck for a while. I just don't think a lot of people in the TCG
I think it would go that
appreciated,
far.
like, that it would become a... Because technically that is, like, a Rise Heart is, like, their third or fourth wave of cards. So I don't think the TCG was quite ready for, like, what they do.
I was more ready for banishing all of my opponent's deck and doing Diablos the Mind Hacker on them instead of, like, locking
Which is still
them
shitty,
board.
by the way. That still fucking sucks.
Fair.
Like,
I
the
think
ability to...
I think it's a bit, like, more commonly shitty than, like, surprisingly I lost
The
everything
ability
it did.
to snipe specific extra deck cards when the extra deck is already 15 one-ofs usually, like, that's rough. Because, like, I know some people are like, oh, I think there's something to be said for adjusting the number of cards allowed in the extra deck. I think you would force decks to play a lot more of their archetypal good stuff if you shaved it to, like, 10. But also, that's really, really rough. And some archetypes would die because they run 15 of their own archetype cards as one-ofs, as, like, in archetype toolboxes. But there's a reason why the extra deck is the way it is. So sniping your extra deck is already pretty bad.
I just want to point out, at the last YCS, there was only one Kashira deck. And it bubbled out at under... no, you got to top 6, I think. I can't tell how this is written.
Where was this and when was this?
YCS Lima and 2 days ago.
How do I say this without sounding classist? I don't think I can. I have heard that the South American version of the game, they don't have as much money to throw around because of, like,
So they
currency
don't have as, like,
adjustments and
optimal
shit.
decks.
Okay, counterpoint
Kashira
to
is
this?
very expensive. This is no.
I'll do a
over
little bit of a
$1,000.
counterpointing to that, though. No, because I can. The other top decks were all Sprite, which is not a cheap deck.
Is it not a cheap
The
deck
top
anymore?
deck's priced at, they have a price tag next to the top deck. It's over $600.
Okay.
How many
Maybe
of
they
those are
already owned the Sprite core? Because, like,
That or they were-
I have
that or they
heard,
were
like,
bumping it
Coder
between
and
each
other
other.
guys talking about playing tournaments in, like, Lima and other South American countries that
But
the
I
meta
think
is
this is
different
a-
there. Like, I know there was a shitload of holdouts, I think, in the last YCS or Lima regional that were, like, playing Mathmech because it was much cheaper.
I think that makes the bottom, like, the bottom 32 make more sense, but the top 16 are not that, because you have...
Dallas,
like,
what's the name of the winner of that tournament, by the way? I just want to ask.
Jose Castillo.
Okay. Fair
who
enough.
is a known player.
I'm just saying, like, I also know that guys will, like, travel to European or South American YCSs.
It's like
from, like,
it's like real
America.
life surfing.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make
But-
sure that wasn't somebody packing their thing up.
No. This is a legitimate thing, but it's interesting because I do think
mean,
Kashira
like-
is a good deck. I just do.
Like I said,
Sprite
I
as it
think there
currently
is
a better deck.
there is some debate as to is Kashira literally the best deck, because it was in the OCG for a little bit, but that's because they were very wishy-washy with their fucking tier hits and stuff, and it took them a while to peg it.
Well, also, the OCG has a very different like band list in general, so there's
Well,
some
yeah.
stuff that they have access
This
to.
is
that we
this
don't.
is like, I actually, so there was a very funny Magical Hats that came out, right?
Oh,
We
I
haven't
love
talked about half these other things, where they talked about can the OCG and the TCG combine. I think there were some interesting arguments there, but MBT and Farfa both came down on I actually think they should combine. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't call them out. I don't care. I would love if they clap back. Actually, I'd get some fucking views. I think their opinions were kind of pie in the sky bullshit. They were like,
Oh, 100%.
in a perfect world, they should combine, because basically their argument was, I want to be able to play with OCG cards right away. I don't like
Here's
clairvoyance, basically.
agree
I
about
don't
that.
like
Here's-
that I get to see cards that come out in the OCG for 6 months, and then in the TCG, it's already a fixed game state. Go ahead, Dallas.
here's the valuable opinion. Here's the actual opinion on that. If I could invent a time machine and go back, beat the Konami executives into submission to them not splitting it up in 2010, that's what I would do. But we don't live in that universe.
And they keep Maxi banned.
Deal with it.
I mean, I don't know if they would. Like, that's the thing.
I don't care what happens from that point.
Your sacrifice else, I guess.
Like, yes, hypothetically, I think it would be really cool if we could get concurrent releases. We won't. I don't know if that's like a budgetary thing, but the OCG is in a bunch of different, the TCG rather is in a bunch of different languages, so I don't know how long, let alone how long it takes them to set up the printing on that, but I'm sure Konami doesn't, basically what would have to happen is Konami would have to delay an OCG set until it would match up with the TCG set, because there's no way that they have enough turnaround time when those cards are printed to be like, to get all the translations and shit out in time, because they've got to fucking
make way
distribute
more
shit.
TCG originals to compensate.
Well, no, Axe, if they're unified, that doesn't work. TCG, what are world premiere cards would also come out in the OCG at the same time. We're talking unified. Like I said, I think that's really cool. I would love to be able to play with shit that's come out recently in the OCG right away. I think that's really neat. I think the fact that Master Duel is somehow slower than the TCG in a lot of respects is actually like really bad for it. Master Duel has tried to like catch up with some of their card releases, but they released the pool really weird. I don't know what they're doing.
I want to make a slight correction.
Go for it.
The winner of YCS Lima was
Dallas cut out again. I don't think I heard that name.
God damn it, was John Guerrero.
Okay.
Castillo was second place.
Okay. Fair enough. But like, yeah, so like the like I said, it's a pie in the sky, and both of them are assuming and I think falsely, both Farfa and MBT acted like the OCG a unified card game would be a TCG style ban list for TCG sensibilities than the other way around, which is also, I think, false.
Oh, Omega, do you want to? Can I do something to prove my my Inferno points?
Yeah, what? What you got?
3 Infernoble decks were in this YCS that bubbled. To put it
That's
that
hilarious. Yeah. No, Infernoble's gonna be good, chat. If in the TCG for sure.
Yeah,
if you didn't think so. Hey guys, I hope you liked not seeing Isolde for 2 years. No, there's no hand looping. Smoke Grenade is banned.
Right.
That's the card that hand looped. That's why they fell out. They still let you play 1 in Master Duel, and it's dumb, but maybe they'll finally fix that.
I'm ready to spin you Infernoble list, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think Infernoble's cool. I never personally took the time to grok how that deck actually worked. I thought it was cool because I don't think chat you can see it, but the joke on why your organization is Fate Stay Away. But
Omega, I need to show these deck breakdowns because this is the top 8.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Lima. Shit. I don't know. Maybe people decided to just be freaky.
It was literally 2 days ago. So
yeah, but the stats are usually posted. I feel like I would see more on Twitter about people yelling about it if it was weird. But anyway,
Sprite Adventure are the top 2 decks. Then Salamangreat Adventure. Plunder Patrol Kaiju Runic. Labyrinth with Dragoon. Then
yeah.
Kashtira.
Lab is pretty good.
Is still here.
Nothing has been done to Flunder.
Flunderies is still here.
Well, I mean, they killed one at Floodgates,
with
but...
Runic and Elvlich.
Yeah, so actually it does sound like we're in a really diverse format.
Which I appreciate.
I mean, I don't know. Some of that might just be that people saw the very infamous YCS where Kashtira did take it and, like, had those mirror matches, and people were like, this fucking sucks. I'm not playing that format. Like, I think we've talked about this in the past, and I can only get Dallas' opinion on this because everybody has abandoned me, and I'm making a list. I'm noting these things down. Vengeance will be mine on our next stream.
No, that's fair.
I mean, normally I get FOMO about Final Fantasy XIV, but it's already midnight, and I know I'm going to play it tomorrow, and I don't even know we got through all the dungeons and shit, so I don't even know what the fuck I would be doing to log in besides just leveling Red Mage, but I'm sure those guys are doing their own shit then to help me through daily rotations anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I know that there's been a lot of discussion that, like, the reason why Dragon Link actually died out was not necessarily because those cards got hit, though Striker did get limited to 1. It's because people got fucking tired of playing Dragon Link. Because it was literally the same shit every day. So I don't know if people got tired of Kashtira and switched.
I don't know, because there's a lot of Kashtira representation at the table. I think what it is one of those decks that is very vulnerable to side decking.
It is true.
Looking at
that is
the
known.
Top 16, and these side decks are very pointed with a
yeah,
gun.
okay. Yeah, so that must be it, yeah. And that's always been the suggestion, that Kashtira is very vulnerable to side decking. They really do lose hard to, in some cases, Nibiru, in a lot of cases, to cards like Lava Golem, to Book of Moons and Books of Eclipse.
Jinzo was a pretty common one I've seen for both Kashtira and Labyrinth. Because they can do that thing that summons... I can't remember how they do it, but... There's just a bunch of stuff in the side deck that I'm seeing that's like, okay, yeah, no, this side deck will... I'm going to plan for Kashtira and nothing else.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. Again, this goes back to why the OCG and the TCG are split. A lot of the OCG's events are best of one and are basically held at the equivalent of the locals level. They have regionals and higher level tournaments, but they're not as frequent because Japan is not as big of a country. You know, and also the OCG only serves Japan, as opposed to Dallas is literally talking about a YCS tournament that is in Lima, Peru. So, like, yeah. Oh
god.
That may be why Kashtira was better in the OCG, was because people were not necessarily doing the same side deck shit.
This side deck is, they're side decking unending nightmares.
That's hilarious. Anyway, we do have three last Infernoble cards. We have Infernoble Arms Almace, which is a katana for some reason. Please stop doing that, Japan.
Stop, please.
I know it's funny, but it should not be a katana blade. It's Almace is like actually a European sword. I'm pretty sure we've got one lying around somewhere, because that's a joke they make in Museum of Noble Arms. But anyway, Infernal Arms Almace, equip card. You can only use one of its effects per turn, only once that turn. While it's equipped to a monster, equip an Infernal Arms spell from your deck or graveyard to an appropriate monster, except Almace, then destroy this card. If this card's sent because the equipped monster was sent to the graveyard, target one of your fire warriors, add it to your hand. That is banished from your graveyard, I should say. So, first of all, it's a completely generic equip spell, which is very funny. But you can use it to cycle your Infernal Arms that matter, or you can, if you just like synchro off the monster it's equipped to, you get to cycle a guy back, including for banish.
So low-key, I think this is actually the strongest support card of the...
because this isn't
the banish recover effect is stupid.
This isn't an equip card that does anything on its own. It's just it helps your other guys.
But like all of the Infernobles, if you know, have the basically pay with an equip spell.
Yeah.
Essentially. No, technically, most of the top decks were not side decking Nibiru because they were main decking 3 Nibiru.
Yeah, you just main deck. Talking about funny rock, but no, you can main deck Nib in a lot of decks, and you would, because if you're blind firsting or seconding and you don't know if your opponent is on Kashtira, you'll lose, you'll die. So
and also it still hits Sprite pretty decently if they.
I think the only thing Nib doesn't deal with is Lab, because
it's like
Lab is like. It's the same for like Max C. Like, I've seen opponents in Master Duel be like, I normal summon what's her face, Ariadne. My opponent's like, oh, Max C, and I'm like, you think I'm going to special summon on my turn?
Conversely, though, Omega, there is that thing where I have my Lab set 3, and then I go Harpy's Feather Duster, and they cry.
Yeah, but that's because you're Dallas and you are a Luxac. I don't count any time my opponent turn ones me with Harpy's Feather Duster as real, because it is a literal one of.
That's fair.
Hell, do people run 3 of Lightning Storm? They might. Technically, depending on what boards you set, you can have responses to a Harpy's Feather Duster as well. It's just it's unoptimal. The best way is if you can set it up so you can actually use Eradicator, because then you can be like, spell cards, fuck them. Shout out to whoever was on MBT's Twitter and reminded me that Eradicator exists. That really made one of the festivals they did recently. Several of them, actually. Like, I've built Live Twin Sprite. I'm not good at it. And honestly, I kind of don't like pure or even live twin sprite. It's just kind of like a generic spam recursion deck, and then you just tribute to negate.
I like live twin punk more, even though it's worse.
I should probably try that, Brew. I really need to get into punks.
So
the problem
weird.
is that like I don't ever have enough fucking dust in this game anymore.
I'm just lucky that I invested in punks early.
Yeah, I've got a
And
few
then
punk
they
cards
suddenly
lying
became
around, but it's
good.
very hard. But I should, because their aesthetic is really my jam, and it's also a really interesting like psychic synchro engine. But yeah, like I think I really like Lab, so my future decks are gonna be Lab with the new support, or whenever they get around to putting out the new fucking Dark Worlds in Master Duel, I am going to run Danger Dark World.
Oh, same.
I'm going to
I
fucking
will
clean
say,
people with that one.
I don't hate Lab, but the most satisfying thing I've ever done in... Because I was a madman, and I ran at Eradicator Epidemic of my deck. Was flipping that on a Lab player and declaring...
Oh yeah,
crap.
no. Like, part of the reason why you run Eradicator is for the mirror. Like,
Yeah.
literally, I saw it because somebody was like, I hate this card so much because it makes the Lab mirror insufferable, and I'm like, oh right, I can run Eradicator. Which basically, normally I call Spell, but sometimes I call Trap. Hey, you know what's sick, guys? Dark Magician. Hey, you know what really fucks Dark Magician? Eradicator.
Calling Trap?
Yeah, call Trap. Hey, nice face
sorry.
up, nice face of Eternal Soul, dickhead.
That was the
Nice
deck
face
I
down,
was
Eternal
putting
Soul, dickhead.
Eradicator in, because you know what's a thing you could sacrifice with Eradicator?
Dark
Fire?
Magician,
Dark
yeah.
Magician.
No, it's also very funny, but yeah. Dark Magician players have been riding high because of the structure deck, and I think it's very cool, but way too many of them are way too cocky. They're like, I'll use Magician's Salvation to
Look.
set Eternal Soul directly from my deck, and I'm like,
I'll be-
okay, so you've told me what card I need to pop. Cool.
As the Dark Magician representative, this thing, many players do not know how to play Dark Magician.
I mean, it's the same as Blue Eyes. I know there are a couple of Blue Eyes players
They're not quite as bad as
in
Blue
our.
Eyes.
No, I mean, they're not, but it's because Dark Magician doesn't run the same way. You can't just make big go haha burr. I know there are a couple of Blue Eyes players in our community who I think from experience are a little smarter than most ladder Blue Eyes players. There are a lot of Crayon Eaters who play Blue Eyes who are just like, haha, activate Bingo Machine, haha, activate Summon Chaos Max, or haha, flip True Light. I have seen less people playing True Light, to be honest.
God,
I think they've
that
realized
card's
it's a
not
trap.
Good.
No, it's bad.
It's not like Eternal Soul.
Jet Dragon is a way more cracked, nonsensical support card that is actually genuinely good and genuinely annoying to fight. But, a True Light is just a... True Light is like, hey, I have a free fucking out to Chaos Max. Thanks. My other way to beat Chaos Max in Lab is just make a... Because I play Labyrinth Archfiend for this reason. Because Lab is really bad at getting rid of towers. Yeah, Gold Pride's going to be fun. But yeah.
Gold Pride Punk is like, I'm salivating for that deck.
Yeah, Gold Pride seem really cool for a world premiere archetype. Anyway, let's wrap up the last couple of Infernobles and then tell them about the poll, and we'll go home because it's after midnight. Let me just get my correct tab out. Noble Arms Museum. Fire Warriors gain 500 attack. Very meaningless. You can pay 1,200. Add a Noble Arms from your deck to hand except Museum. That's crazy. Once per turn, if you apply the second effect, target a Noble Knight in your spell trap zone, special summon it. If you didn't control Charles, you can't special summon except Warriors, so it does nothing. I like, by the way, how they say that the French... first of all, I'm pretty sure the French allege to have Joyeuse, which also I'm pretty sure that's fake. I don't think that's actually like the era-appropriate Joyeuse. If they claim to have Durandal, they're fucking wrong because he threw it away.
Yeah, they're lying.
There is actually a place in France near the Gap of Roland, which is a mountain pass, which has a giant like crack in a natural wall where they say that's where Roland shoved Durandal, but Durandal's lost, guys.
Although, to be fair, it could be a situation like what NB, one of those fucking crazy museums.
Yeah. But anyway, Noble Arms Museum, crazy card. I'm actually shocked they didn't have a field spell before, but yeah, here's a do everything field spell.
Nope.
Honestly, and also, hey, this
is a
attack
2018
fix.
field spell.
This attack fix, that's probably not insignificant, right? Like, your big guys are like 29 or 3k. Giving them 500 extra attack actually matters for certain brews. But also, pay 12, adding noble arms. Fucking dumb. And then, if you already had your board set up, which you can because it's not a when you activate it, it's a once per turn effect to do that, the search. Just special summon a guy from your field spell. Nuts. And then lastly, I love this card art, by the way. Let me tab it up there, chat. This is great.
It's so fun.
It's funny. But the Epic of Charles, normal trap, reveal a noble arms in your hand. If you do special summon a knight from your hand or deck, then equip it. Crazy. I know it's a normal trap, but still crazy. Banish this card from your graveyard, target a Charles you control, equip it with a noble knight from your monster from your hand or deck as an equip spell. Also crazy.
No, the set effect is really good, but hard to pull off.
Yeah.
That graveyard effect is stupid.
No. And this is a card because it mentions Charles, I believe. Yeah, that means it's searchable with Angelica.
Bunch of shit.
Search off Angelica.
No. Omega, they already had cards that could search cards that mention.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm saying, like, Axe was asking earlier what those cards were. Well, that's an Angelica target as well. So, yeah, no. Infernoble is going to get good. I mean, there's a lot of really good support in Dama, which I'm glad. And I think that's because to be fair to the OCG, while their meta has some of the same nonsense it always does, there's still way too many Ishizu decks that are good, because they haven't super limited all those yet. But they're pretty varied as well. So I'm glad to see the TCG kind of springing back. Kashira was really overrepresented for a while. So
can I defend the Ishizu cards for a second?
I mean, at one, they're sacky. They're funny.
No, I have been having an immense amount of fun with the Ishizu cards in Master Duel.
Oh, yeah? What decks are you playing them in?
So Punk, Thunder Dragon, Ishizu, Danger is one deck I ran. There's Ishizu Chaos, which is a deck that's running around.
Well, okay. Sorry to cut you off there, Dallas. I was just saying, people want Duelist Explosion spoilers because we've wanted the Fire Pack for a long time, and there are Fire archetypes people really like. We want to know if we're mad or not. There will almost assuredly be Volcanic supports, so
I'm still betting my arm that one of them is Salamangreat.
I really hope it's not, because Salad is still like everybody's fourth best deck.
It's one of the most popular archetypes in all.
Yeah, I really hope it isn't, just because I want Konami to spread stuff out. I remember the Twitter thread MBT just started about cards to be added. They mentioned that Bastion has a fire dragon, like water dragon, in the opening that we never saw. That would be funny. But yeah, people want Duelist of the Explosion spoilers because we've been waiting for the Fire Pack for a long time, and people are scared. But in general, I don't think anybody is going to be mad that Dama spoilers are coming out, because that's the set that's next. It reminds me, I think it's cheap. I want to buy a box of Maze of Memory, because the Gate Guardian cards are funny. I don't think they're super meta, though you can run Gate Guardian engines and stuff that's very funny, but it's a fun little deck.
Gate Guardian actually has a rogue deck now.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I figured it would be rogue.
The Gate Guardian Punk.
Right, yes. I think even MBT talked about that in set. You can run it
Punk
in a...
is officially the new... just slap this bitch in here.
I don't think it's new. It's just that Sprite tier was so restrictive that people let it go. Yeah. None of the Punk cards that were in shit like based, Adventure Punk, shit like that, none of those cards got hit. It's just that other shit was, way too important.
Yeah.
Well, if people are saying Duelist Nexus is mid, they're fucking wrong. Who's saying that? Is it MBT? He's known to be wrong.
Now I'm just imagining Gate Guardian with a laser Kabuki mask on, and I love it.
I mean, that would fit Gate Guardian as a special effect. But yeah, no, I like the Gate Guardian brews. They're really funny. I also know that in Maze of Memories, they've printed a bunch of other stuff, like Red Eye Soul and shit that I want. So the boxes are cheap because it's not a meta set, and I'm glad. Dama's going to be fucking expensive. I hope Vanquish Soul isn't too bad. Or not Vanquish. Vanquish Soul is the name of the archetype. I hope that card, Wild Guardians, whatever it is, that deck build pack that has Transcendrake, Vanquish Soul, and Nuvole. I don't want Transcendrakes. I hope that Konami realizes they're going to be good and rarity bumps them.
Well, no, Omega, it's going to be expensive, but we're going to benefit from it.
True.
I want Nouvelle cards.
Yes,
Those
no,
are not gonna be
I
expensive.
also love Nouvelle. I love both those other archetypes. Nouvelle, I've done some Nouvelle brews as like a pure ritual engine. It's really funny. I want to see what the spicy tech is. And Vanquish Soul, I've also done a brew of. That's another like I don't know what the spicy tech is other than maybe invoked because they're all different attributes.
I
but
did
like
a brew of Nouvelle Cyber Angel.
oh yeah, that
was
is going to
pretty
be
funny.
really good. Yeah, I haven't tried that hybrid. I built it pure, but yeah, no, they're like all those decks are really interesting. I think that the only issue is we know Transcendric is because of that clairvoyance that MBT talked about. We know that Transcendric's going to be pushed. We know that there's going to be more dino
I
shit.
mean, I feel like Nouvelle might be the second most expensive of the archetypes, just because I do feel like it is a very easy off-meta call to
Yeah, it's an off-meta deck. Vanquish Soul is just like, that's just a decent archetype they put together with a gimmick. It'll probably need the follow-up support, but it's also really easily set up for it. Nouvelle is just like, what decks beat being tributed? Not a lot. But it is it is almost 12:30. We've been going for a while. I'm getting hungry, so I need a
Omega,
snack. What's up?
The answer? Zombie decks. That's literally it. Zombie World. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it is probably the only restriction there is. There are I know of a couple of big spicy fusion monsters that can't be tributed. Like I think is that what Dragoon says? Does Dragoon say he can't be tributed, or is that Quintet Magician I'm thinking of?
I think it's Quintet Magician.
Yeah, but if you make Quintet, it doesn't fucking matter anyway. You've won already. But yeah, it's I need to wrap up because I'm gonna fucking pass out. I'm so hungry. I need a snacky. And I'll let those boys get back to their 14 stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll have a fun 14 time. Watch our 14 stream tomorrow and watch the X3 stream that already came out. Thank you.
That was hilarious, by the way. I didn't catch it live, but I did watch a little.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good stream. I think we had fun. And we'll probably do more Mega Man stuff in the future because Lucky wants to get through a lot of the games he never played, and I also fucking love those games. So I'm a big Mega Man fan.
Please stream. God, what's the really cringy one story-wise? I think it's Battle Network 5.
No, 5's all right. I played that one as a
What's
kid.
the one that involves Satan?
Well, okay.
It might be 4 then.
So 4 has aliens. Technically 5 does. I think the anime movie made Nebula Gray more of a Satan allegory, but they do kind of have like the final boss of 5 is like, hey, we developed these battle chips that like awaken your evil desires, and we built a computer network to.
5 is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Look,
5 is also a little goofy, but
I love the story, but it is a campy schmucky.
no, it's true.
Wonderful thing.
I have said that I want to stream Battle Networks. We're gonna have to find out how that will work, but I've pre-ordered the Legacy Collection, so I'm gonna try something.
Same.
Because those are also very solid. But yeah, let me switch back to Paint so you can see Neptopus again. Just to keep everybody informed, we have a Patreon poll, and it has just. Oh no. Okay, I did it later, so it's got 3 days left. So you've got a little bit of time. I'm gonna be honest. As much as I would love for you to support us on Patreon, and also fire up our channel memberships and shit, drop us a super chat because I'm talking about me being hungry. I've recently ordered groceries and restocked on shit and stuff. So I would appreciate money coming back into my wallet rather than going out. And also, like I said, I pre-ordered that Mega Man Battle Network. So if you want to help me, pay off for that for being streamed, give us a gander. But I'm pretty sure Red Eyes is going to win. It's got 7 votes now. And Sprite, Spiral, and Gimmick Puppet only have 1. So I think you guys are going to be nice to me and let me do Red Eyes. Though,
Hey, Omega?
as much as I say nice, we're going to have so much fun talking about how Konami has fucked us over. What's up, Dallas?
I kind of want to announce this on stream because it's relevant.
What's up? What do you got?
So, new structure deck, Matt and Duelist Cup dropped in Master Duel 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. It's actually live. I believe they announced
Spiral Spear Strikes.
Yeah, the Gaia one ahead of time. Lawful, have fun with that. Yeah, I'll check out the new cosmetics. I don't need to buy new cards right now.
I'm just gonna
Did the
break some
Duelist
people
Cup
in Duelist
start?
Cups.
The Duelist Cup started? Do I want to? There's gems. Yeah, I probably want to do the Duelist Cup.
Yes, 3,000 gems.
Yeah, that's a lot of gems. I need that shit. I love the fucking cosmetics in Master Duel, so I spend gems. All right, well, I'll probably go do that after I get my snack.
The cards eventually.
It's some good shit. But yes, thanks everybody for tuning in. I believe, what is our next solo mode?
Shouldn't it be Weather? Oh, no, we did Weather. Let me see what's after Atlantean. I'm right here, so I'll pull it up.
And we might have done Dream Mirror might be after Atlantean, so we put those two
We did
together.
Mermail. We did Vendra.
Yeah.
A while back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's technically Starry Dragon.
Oh boy. Well, we will do Starry Dragon, and we'll figure that one out.
Yeah, it's Starry Dragon, then Mutant, then Rekka.
Well, we'll probably do Starry Dragon and Mutant together, because those are both pretty small.
Oh, I'll have a lot of fun with Mutant.
Mutant is funny, and I think that solo mode was interesting. It's just they.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite solo mode.
Mutant. When we get to it, Mutant has some pretty clear like roadblocks in their style of how their deck works. That's not very efficient, but yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning into all the stuff. Thanks Dallas for sticking out with me for the whole of the stream, even if we did get off topic a little, but you know we got in there. So I'll see you guys next week for more Fail Portrayal. Again, tomorrow for 14. Check out our Monday stream for Mega Man X3 and some other stuff.
Hacks! Why did you put that in your pot? Okay. Sorry.
Anyway, good night, guys.
Night.